Hey everyone, good morning. I am just hopping on here a few minutes early, so we are still setting up, so bear with us, but I wanted to make sure that you guys at home can help me with a mic check. So mic check 1 2 3 1 2 3. We're still getting stuff set up. Like I said, we have my Starlink here on the roof of Margaritaville, have my laptop, which by the way, I just pulled it out of my bag and it is wet. So that is how humid it is up here. So it's definitely humid. Oh man, that tripod is already wobbling. So if you guys can let me know, okay, I see 5x5. I see audio is bad from Angry Astronaut. So this is the, okay, so let me do a test. There's one mic that I think that's maybe not as good. Hold on. Okay, I'm testing the mic that I'm not sure about. Can you tell me how this mic sounds? Or if you can hear me, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Can you hear me on this mic? Audio is fine. How is this mic? I need my commenters. Sounds good. Okay. Well, you guys think it sounds good, so both sound fine. All right. So Joe is going to be wearing one of these, but for right now, I'm double teaming it up. And you guys can hear NASA space flight in the background. So everything is looking good so far this morning. I'm sure that more people will hop on a bit later here. I'm already wondering if I should put my hair up. My computer is wet. So we have Joe will be here in a second. And it's kind of early, but I wanted to hop on here early because I know that we're all waiting and we're all really excited for this morning. I have a really good feeling about today. I just hopped on early to have the viewers help me do a mic check. So it sounds good. I think it looks good. It's better than no light. What is the countdown currently at? T-minus 1 hour and 20 minutes. So we're out here pretty early, but we're awake anyway. So, oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. I hope I don't look too sleepy. This is much better. So because, the launch window starts quite early, although obviously we're not launching yet, it is still dark out here. Hey, Joe, the tripod is very wobbly. My tripod is waving a lot, so I don't know what we should do. I guess I could try and put my bag against it or something.
I thought you were going to use the iPad.
Oh, well, I'd have to log into my StreamYard. I thought that was for comments. Here, let me put my bag against it. Let me see how this works. So to everyone watching at home, again, we're still setting up, but sometimes you guys like to see how it looks live. Oh, that's a good idea. And then what about this? Does that work?
Yeah, and I got one other thing.
Oh, okay. So we just kind of weighted it. Tell me how that looks, and it should be way less wobbly. Oh, this is cool. You guys are helping me. Good morning. Hope the weather is good. It's humid. It's very humid out here, but I don't know. It's been that way every day. So let me pull up my live stream on here. Cool. What is my horse's name? So that actually wasn't my horse. That was a horse that Space Padre Isle very kindly brought out for me to ride, and his name is Cowboy. Oh my gosh, Joe is like the jerry rig MacGyver of this operation. He is duct taping everything so that it won't wobble. Where would we be without Joe? Truly, I tell him all the time, and he's like, I'm just a guy with a drone. No, you are the reason people watch this live stream. I shouldn't be so self-deprecating. So right now we have, over 800 people. Let me know in the comments where you guys are watching from. One of the things that we were talking about with a waitress last night here at Margaritaville is the interest from all around the world. And you know what? One thing, we might want to turn this down just a bit because, sorry, we're not trying to directly compete with NASA Spaceflight's audio. But we do have it on an iPad above us so we can kind of see what's going on. And I have my looking better than Tim Dodd in a dress holding a laptop. Well, I've never seen Tim Dodd in a dress, so I'm not sure if I can confirm that. We have Stan watching from Tampa, Florida. We have Dirk watching all the way from Belgium. We have Gabe watching from Tokyo. I was just in Tokyo not too long ago. We have Richard from Chicago. He says, one of these days I will have to see the launch live, though my track record with going to launches is poor. You guys, it's no mystery. Sorry, I keep looking at the wrong camera. It is tough to get out here. It is definitely, an effort because Starbase is not right next to the airport. So for all of you who make it out here, good on you. And I'm sure you don't regret the trip. Even if you're not here during a launch, one of the things that we've been stressing to a lot of the viewers and fans that come up to us is that if you haven't made it out here, you really might want to do that soon. And that's not just us promoting Starbase. We're not getting paid to promote Starbase. It's because the access is, quickly getting limited. There's a lot of walls and fences just in the last few months that weren't there for the last launch, which I'll remind you was less than 3 months ago. So if you're trying to see one of, if not the most unlimited restricted access site, seeing rockets being built from the side of the road, you'll probably want to come here sooner than later. Jack says, do I have multiple chats or am I just reading from Twitter? So just for reference, I'm using a software called StreamYard. So right now we are streaming on YouTube, X, as well as Facebook and Twitch. So I have multiple comments coming in, and that's why we're live, so I can interact with you guys at home. We have Gary from Yosemite. We have Yakar all the way from Africa. So when I say there's a global interest in Starship, I mean it. It's really incredible, actually, to have this many people. And honestly, I think there should be more people tuning into this, watching what's happening, because it truly is history being made right before our eyes. Joe and I have been lucky enough to cover every single launch so far. Granted, there's only been 4 after today, but every single launch from the roof here of Margaritaville. So it's become a bit of a tradition. We weren't originally planning to stream together on the first launch, but I broke my femur and I needed help. And now we've become good. It looks good. What do you think? Come over here. And do you want your mic yet or not?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to give you the gooder one.
Good morning. How can everybody hear me?
Okay, we have
All right.
Arkansas, we have Sydney, Australia, Bahamas, Denmark, India. It is just incredible to see how many people are watching. Houston, are you AI? I have had like 5 or 6 people. I did a video about the Dear Moon cancellation, and I had so many people say, this is AI generated, and shock and shock and confusion after the Dear Moon trip canceled without notice. Everyone following the journey on the outside. I'm just proving it, guys. I was in TV news for almost a decade, so I don't know if I should be flattered or upset that someone accused me of being AI. I'm looking at the causeway, which is right to our left here, and honestly, it doesn't look that busy. I'm actually kind of surprised, but we do see a pretty steady flow of cars coming in. And that's because most people watch these launches from the beach, which is also over here to our right.
Right over that way.
And so we see people walking in. There's a big strip of hotels here on South Padre Island. So a lot of people ask me, where should I watch the launch from? And you have a lot of options here. I had someone message me on email from Ireland this morning. He's going to try to make it to the next launch. He's bringing his 10-year-old child, and where should he stay to be the closest and most family friendly? And I think that's kind of a loaded question because Rocket Ranch is by far the closest, but it's kind of more of a communal, almost, roughing it campsite versus here on South Padre Island, which is much further, much maybe a stretch, but it's about
driving distance,
50-minute drive or so, depending on the traffic, from here to Starbase. And whereas Rocket Ranch has got to be, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's much closer, but it's just not as people friendly or kid friendly.
Right. So I'll get back to him after this launch. I haven't emailed him back, but it's a question that we get a lot here. So here, let's just scoot there. Oh wait, no, not too much.
I think your phone is a little bit.
It does look crooked.
So it might be just how I set it up. So.
Abort. Okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. Why does it look crooked like that?
It's just because of where the feet is. Is that better?
Okay, Jessica says there's a time change, 7:50.
7:50?
Yes.
50? Okay. Well, that would be just breaking news. So I was about to say that, T plus 1 hour or T minus 1 hour and 15 minutes is when they do the poll and decide to go to propellant loading. So that would have been coming up here, but it looks like maybe a slight delay.
Okay. We have Dennis watching from Missouri this morning. We have Rob all the way from Milton Keynes. And you just remind me, I am going to send a link. We're going to try a few things different this time. One of them is that we have lights up here, so you don't have to hold a phone in my face. We're learning. We are rapidly iterating.
Yes, we are.
We are rapidly iterating. We're learning from SpaceX. I also wanted to send our live stream link to a couple of special guests, including Angry Astronauts. So let me do that right now.
Okay.
And that way, we can have, because now we have some more time to kill, we can have some people join the chat.
Okay. Well, this is the delay. I mean, you don't want to see a delay, but in this case, it may work out for us because what that does is it's going to let the sun come up more. And as we get later into the morning, the chance for any of the mist on the horizon gets better and better as time goes on. So I was thinking originally yesterday, I was actually mentioning that 7:30 might have been a good time for the launch, just so that we have better visibility. And with this now being at 7:50 Central Time, which is 12:50 UTC, that puts us more than an hour after sunrise, and it gives that chance for that haze layer to burn off. So that may actually work out pretty well. As far as I know, the launch window is still 2 hours long from 7 o'clock. So 7 to 9 is the target that they should be looking at for the launch. And 1 hour, 15 minutes prior to that launch time. So that would be, in this case, what is that? 6:35 is when we should expect. And then it goes from there. Yesterday, we also talked about the propellant loading has gotten considerably faster. It's somewhere on the order of about 40, 45 minutes once they actually start putting the propellant into the ship. So 1 plus 15 to 45, 30 minutes to get the lines, the tanks, the pumps, everything ready to go. And, we should start seeing more of the tank farm activity probably in the next, 20, 30 minutes. And then that's starting to gear up as well.
Well, and we do only have, Angry says you're on my stream now, no audio. So people, that's strange. I don't know why. You guys can hear us. So I don't know why. Hopefully you guys can hear us, and we'll be troubleshooting that. But I just pulled up the SpaceX feed, but it's not live yet. So I'm going to go back to just you and I here on the roof. Now, why do we think it's been delayed a little bit?
It's hard to say for sure. Earlier this morning, there were some vehicles that went out to the pad, maybe to check on some of the tanks or the tank farm. So that could be it. Maybe they had to do some work and that reset things. I also think that for this flight, it's very important for them to get a lot of data, not only the telemetry from the ship, but probably visual data as well. So maybe they're trying to give them, the best possibility for visibility. Another possibility, and again, this is a guess, is maybe there's some ships or other obstructions out in the hazard zone, and maybe they're clearing that out as well. So it may be a combination of all of those. But other than the time change, we don't really know. The good thing is that they said that the weather looks 95% positive for the launch at that time. So,
and I'm just gonna pull up Eric Berger just tweeted posted something about. Hold on, let's see here, because we know that Starliner is okay. Despite the new helium leaks, Mission Control says Boeing Starliner can proceed toward docking at the International Space Station. So the launch went pretty great.
Well.
But apparently they've had some issues such as helium leaks, and that can be a cause for concern.
Right. The helium's used to pressurize the tanks that serve the maneuvering thrusters for the Starliner. And they had a known leak before launch, but they end up getting a couple more after launch. And it looks like they've at least got it troubleshot to the point where they feel confident to let them proceed to the ISS. If that happens, I don't know the exact time, but it's sometime around 12:30 this afternoon, Central Standard Time, which would make it about 17:30 UTC for the docking at the UTC, which should be well after all the Starship activities are over.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
A lot of people are kindly complimenting my dress. I was planning on wearing heels, and I think I'm going to wait until a little later because I don't know if I can stand here for 2 hours in heels. Were you planning on wearing heels this morning?
No, I wasn't. I
Oh.
made a last-minute change this morning.
Darn it.
But I will say it is extremely sultry out here right now. It is very humid, dripping humid off of everything that's metal, and not too much wind, so it's a little bit like a sauna.
I was telling them I pulled my laptop out of my bag and it was wet.
Yeah.
It was wet, and that notepad that we were writing notes on last night is wet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now I can still read the writing, but I picked it up and it's like flimsy. So it is like really humid out here, but it is summer, so it's not surprising. So yeah, we have a little. Let's check in, because have we confirmed that? I know that Jessica said that it's to 7:50 now.
It is.
Okay, cool.
There's a SpaceX post on X, and they confirmed 7:50 and the 95% for the weather.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the things, I've been down here since Sunday, Joe's been down here since Monday, is the winds have been quite strong.
Right.
So it really has let up this morning, and that's part of the reason why they originally were planning on yesterday, but they had that slip. And so hopefully it's good today. It seems good. More traffic, a lot more traffic.
The causeway is filling up now with vehicles coming over to get to Isla Blanca Park for the viewing. And there was a front that came through late afternoon, early evening, and that has really changed the weather conditions. It's not just the winds at the ground level, though. It's also at the upper level. So I think they were probably looking at that for yesterday and decided let's try for today.
And Crum Research says Cybertruck getting FSD 12.5 in July, maybe?
Possibly. 12.4.1 now should have been out to at least some of the customers, but they're still rolling it out to employees. Maybe we'll start seeing some of the early adopters, the OG testers get it maybe this weekend. And then 12.5 is the one that's supposed to bring it to Cybertruck. That was supposed to be end of June. I'm going to say it'll come out later than that, and then it takes several weeks to roll out to the general public. So I'm not really counting on it until at least August, but that's just me.
I'm going to send this link to...
Are there any questions here?
And I'm just going to say it. Super chats are definitely appreciated. This is really one of the main ways that I can keep my channel afloat is during Starship launches. I get new viewers and more traffic. And so since I do this full time, well, Joe can agree that, the revenue can be hit or miss. So I really do appreciate not only you guys watching, but also if you can super chat, that is much appreciated as well. And I'm sending the link to a couple people just to see if we can get some special guests.
Sounds good. And if anybody has any questions, put them on the chat or the super chats, and I'll try to answer, and Ellie will try to answer. And, Tim Dodd actually did his tour with Elon at Starbase last night. He posted about that. So I'm particularly looking forward to seeing that video, because there's a lot inside there that I want to know about, and I think a lot of other people too.
It has changed so much, just even since the last launch, which is, you know, they are not only rapidly iterating on Starship and what they're learning from the launches, but also, and one thing that we were talking about, Starbase is not just a factory or, you know, a production site.
Right.
It is kind of a city.
It's definitely growing with all the construction, with the administration building, the Star Factory, all the expansion. They're bringing in hundreds or thousands of workers here, so they need to have all the support to be able to live here, to get food, groceries, entertainment, all the things that you take for granted, and they're putting that in.
And we have our first super chat of the stream.
Awesome.
From Douglas Mark. Good morning, Ellie. Thanks so much. Lots of love from Toronto. Thank you so much for watching. We got up bright and early and feeling pretty good so far.
Right.
It actually feels like the humidity, either I'm used to it or it's subsided a little bit.
I think you're getting used to it. But the good news is that we're really close to sunrise now. We can actually see the skies getting lighter. You can probably see behind us. So maybe, you know, in another 30 minutes, we won't even need the lights anymore.
Well, here's a quick question, and I don't want to talk about Starliner too much, but we do have some time. Do you know why the helium is leaking on Boeing's ship? Bad valves, bad machining?
I don't really know for sure. I think if the engineers knew, there wouldn't be a leak at all. But my guess is helium is kind of like hydrogen in the sense that they're really, really small molecules. So they can find anything to leak through. Most likely it's through a fitting, probably some sort of a pipe from that tank leading over to where the thrusters are. But I would think that it's probably a series of fittings. And it did sound like there's 3 particular leaks, and it's most likely where the tanks and fittings come together.
And, you know, one of the things that's really hard is they've had many delays, as we know, when they've been able to troubleshoot and fix things from the ground.
Right.
So it's a little bit harder at its current state and space.
Right. Well, you know, there's a lot going on with the Starliner flight, rather than not just testing out the Starliner. The ISS actually has some broken equipment, particularly some pumps that are very important for the, that's how we say, the biological functions of humans.
Right.
And there's a new pump on Starliner that the ISS really needs. So I think they're keen on getting the docking just for that, so that the ISS can continue normal operations.
And we have a few more super chats, so thank you guys. We have Joe Blow. Thank you for the $10 super chat. We have Sword of Truth, another $10 super chat. Love your enthusiasm. You guys are a great team. I have to say, it's really cool that we have been able to sort of cover the launch of 4 launches so far. Once this morning goes on the roof of Margaritaville, kind of become this duo that is unexpected, but people seem to like it. So we're going to keep rolling with it, but we're really glad that you like our coverage and our commentary. I really do have to thank Joe, because you don't have to do this, and you have a lot of knowledge. And so thank you. Everyone at home appreciates your knowledge. And, you know, I'm learning more, but tell everyone why you are so knowledgeable. We had someone the other day say, good job getting a NASA engineer on your show, which is he is not. So tell us more about your experience.
Yeah, well, you know, all throughout my life, I wanted to be an astronaut. I studied a lot of science and math in high school, and I actually wanted to be an astrophysicist, and also an astronaut. And I got a chance to go to the Air Force Academy, and I thought that astronautical engineering and astrophysics was the same thing. I found out it's not. Astrophysics is kind of the study of planets and sun and the the environment of space, if you will, versus astronautical engineering, which is the orbits, trajectories, rockets, that kind of stuff. So I got a degree in that, and then the Air Force was kind enough to send me to The Ohio State University for a double master's in aero and astro, and went on to be a pilot. I wanted to be an astronaut again, and you know, sometimes in life things take different paths, but that's always been a part of me.
And you have the knowledge to prove it. I want to get to some of these other super chats. A very generous $100 from Richard's Workshop. Buy Joe a beverage when this is done. Fun fact, actually, Joe and I don't drink. So a beverage is a good way to put it.
Right. Right.
A lot of people are like, you know, are you going to celebrate with a martini or whatever? I'm like, no, I'm not. One for you too from the detective. That's your friend. So it'll be a cheap tab. But thank you so much for the super chat. Really, you guys are keeping my channel going. I've unfortunately had a lot of patrons drop off their support. And so, you know, I don't know if it's the trip to Japan, which was a birthday trip that hurt me, but I really do appreciate you guys liking, commenting, subscribing, and supporting, obviously, with super chats. And we have a few more. Tim, thank you for the $20 super chat. If this flight meets all goals, how long do you think it'll take for the next one? That's another thing that we've been talking about. I think less than, you know, the time frame that we've seen for this one, which this one has been pretty incredible at less than 3 months. But a lot of things have happened to encourage us that it's going to be a shorter window, including the fact that if there is no threat to public safety and a mishap investigation is still open, they should be able to get another launch license. And we were also noticing with the launch license that dropped on Tuesday, that there are some conditions that also will make it much easier to get a launch license sooner. So let's talk about those.
Yeah, the FAA license is a little different than we've seen before, because not only does it give the opportunity to go right into Flight 5 without any mishap investigation, or as long as there's not a public safety thing, but they've also, at least for the Starship portion of the flight, given 3 exclusions that if that were to happen, it won't trigger a public safety. One of which is that if during re-entry the heat shield doesn't protect the ship and it breaks up, and if it's only that, then that does not trigger that safety, as long as it comes down in the area that's supposed to come down. Another one is if they try to do that flip and burn and it doesn't work because the Raptors have a problem, but otherwise it lands where it's supposed to be, that doesn't trigger it as well. And there's one other criteria that off the top of my head I don't remember, but there's 3 of them, and that's different than what we've seen. The other thing to keep in mind is, you know, although they have Ship 30, they have Booster 12, most of them they've had the cryo test. They'll have to do some static fires on the booster, but those are pretty much ready to go. But don't forget stage 0. It needs to survive as well.
Right.
And one of the things that I'm going to be looking for today, and we'll see if it happens, but if everything goes well on Flight 4 and they decide that they want to do a catch next flight, it would stand to reason that they would try to mimic the catch with the actual tower and chopsticks at the same time, and use the telemetry and see if it works. So I'm going to be looking to see if that actually happens.
And I think you're answering Eric's question, which is basically, what is a realistic success criteria today?
Okay. Well, I think a realistic success criteria is the major milestones: hot staging, proper separation, a solid boost back with all 13 engines for the full duration, shut down nominally, a good reentry aerodynamic drag to slow it down to the point where they can relight the 13, arrest that descent in a vertical fashion, you know, bring the engines down to 3 and do a soft landing in a targeted location. And they have buoys out there that are kind of marking where it's coming down, so they get really good coordinates. So if that happens and they get good data, that may be enough for them to say we're going to try the catch. For the ship, really all they want to do is get that hot stage, get it into that orbital trajectory. It's got a perigee that's within the atmosphere, so it will naturally come back in. And I think they want to do that for 2 reasons. One, it eliminates that complexity of trying to have a Raptor relight for a deorbit burn, but also if something were to go wrong, it will come back in. So they're not going to have a Starship stuck in orbit. And then of course they want it to be controllable. They want to be able to give the heat shield the maximum opportunity to prove what it can do, maybe get data from that. And the flip and burn and landing is kind of a bonus, I think, if they really want to get that.
And I'm putting up file footage from the last launch, although I don't want to confuse people. So do you think this will be confusing, or maybe confusing? Okay, I'll take it out. This is from the last launch. I thought it might be good to have some visuals here, but we'll go back to just us.
Okay.
Thank you to Bill Miller for another very generous super chat, $50 this morning. So thank you guys. The support is coming out, and we are definitely appreciative of that. And 2 points that I wanted to make with everything you just said. Number one, you know, we were talking about too, Flight 4 is going back to basics a little bit more. And we were telling some fans at the restaurant last night, kind of Flight 1 was what's going to happen. Flight 2, more things are going right. Flight 3 had a lot of achievements, but there was also a lot of tests going on at the same time. And so I think we're bringing it back to basics a little bit with Flight 4. So hopefully it's easier to meet those goals.
It is. I think, you know, it's a cleaner data collection. It's easier on the teams because you're focusing on specific things. And I think what they're focusing on are some of the critical capabilities that the Starship has to have before we can do anything else. It has to be able to re-enter successfully.
Right.
The booster has to be able to be caught and reused. Without those things, the ship is not useless, but all you do is have a you know, a ship that you put stuff in orbit and then you throw it away. And without the booster, the economics of trying to do this program become untenable. So they have to do that.
I also wanted to point out that with the launch license criteria modifications, you know, I think the FAA is working well with SpaceX. And, you know, we had a lot of criticism after some of the flights, maybe some of it warranted, maybe some of it not, depending on your viewpoint. But I think it shows that the FAA does want to work with SpaceX.
I think so. I mean, from the standpoint of evolving the FAA to be able to handle increased flights, this is important for them because it's not just SpaceX that's going to be flying. There's going to be a lot of different companies flying, and the number of rockets going up per day is going to be kind of what we've seen in a year not too long ago. So the FAA has got a reason to do that. Also, from, you know, our national space program, it's very important as well.
And let me just point out some super chats before I take a break for my wrist here. I really need a table. Next time we need to bring a table. I don't know if there's any sort of makeshift table. The problem is, you might say, well, just put it on that ledge. Well, on the other side of that ledge is, you know, 12 stories of drop. Pedro, thank you for the super chat. Elon Musk, my only idol. A hug from Lisboa, Portugal. We have $20. Thank you from Mark Kidwell. Have a great morning, Ellie and Joe. I feel like this is, well, maybe one of the first launches where I got up and I was not terribly tired. And I think it's just the excitement. And I actually slept pretty good last night, which is also surprising because that has been historically quite hard for me. Jason Zimmerman, thank you for the super chat. Good morning, Ellie and Joe. I am a Mennonite from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I have been to Starbase and Rocket Ranch because I saw your video on YouTube. My dream is to one day be a farmer on Mars. That is a beautiful dream. Very cool. And again, yes, I made a video about Rocket Ranch almost 3 years ago, which is crazy. You know, I ran into one of the SpaceX employees yesterday that I actually was here for my first trip to Starbase while he was being interviewed for the job. And here he is almost 3 years later. So it is a small world, and it's great to see things come full circle. Michael Maxey, thank you as well for the super chat. He is a longtime supporter of the channel. Starliner docking coverage is scheduled to begin this morning also, but I guess you guys will probably maybe pull up another tab, maybe not. I think that the excitement for Starship is probably going to overtake everything.
And speaking of which, if the T minus 1 hour and 15 pull and beginning of propellant movement continues to hold true, in about 5 minutes, we should have that pull.
Fantastic. Let me take a break for my wrists because they are dying.
Okay.
And let me go get just something to drink.
All right. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I will try to answer them. And thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be on Ellie's channel. And, you know, part of what I want to do is just give a lot of information, a little context about what's going on and get that enthusiasm for space. So this is a great way of doing it. So thank you.
Oh my God, they might have just heard me scream. There is a dead bird next to us.
It's quite humid.
I also, by the way, I just recognized your shirt.
Oh, see?
He's wearing my shirt. It was so dark. I didn't see it, and I just recognized it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. The sun is now up. We've had sunrise, but there is still some clouds off to the east. That's why I keep looking up. directly above us, it's starting to become blue skies. In fact, I can see contrails of an aircraft. But on the horizons, we still have a little bit of the clouds. Behind us, we can't quite see the lights from the launch tower yet, but hopefully that'll clear up over the next hour or so.
And thank you for another generous super chat from Bimmergeezer, $100.
Wow.
Since I can't be there, take Joe to dinner, Ellie. I can do that, although we've had some cheap dinners at Subway. Thank you so much, and we really wish that you could be here too. Bimmergeezer is a very, very loyal fan, and so I know that people that can't be here, maybe they've been here, maybe they've never been here, but I feel like especially if you've been here, you know, it is a bummer not to be able to see this in person.
Right.
But the good news is that there's going to be more launches, so
the wind is picking up just a little bit, so I'm gonna go get some weight for our camera setup to make sure it doesn't go.
Sounds good. And I'm going to take a refreshment drink with this Replenish Zero electrolyte hydrated beverage. So that's another thing that happens when the lights come on. I see that there's a dead bird next to us. R.I.P. So we are T-minus 1 hour, 17 minutes from Starship Flight 4. So I want to know from you guys in the comments too, what is your metric for a successful flight today? I think that is, you know, a different definition for everyone, and especially the mainstream headlines sometimes don't understand what success looks like. So what is your definition for success today? What do you like? What would you like to see? And one of the things too, for people that aren't savvy with what to look out for, I think until we hit, you know, that 50-minute mark or so, like we did for the last one, we won't really know if it's a true success. And so I think some people might see it.
Launch, yeah.
Right. So some people might see it. Yeah, no. Some people might see it launch and say, "Yay, it made it off the pad." But you know, we will be here for a bit to figure out how it does on its journey to the Indian Ocean.
That is true. Now, just a couple of things about that. Before we get to that, there is tank vent activity going on out at the OLM. We are right at that T plus 1 hour and 15-minute point where the pole and the beginning of prop loading. So I think that's a very positive sign. And as Ellie mentioned, you know, if it launches, goes up, does a separation, the booster will be back down here. Hopefully we'll see it, but it'll be back down here one way or the other in about 7 minutes.
I was going to say, in about 7 minutes. And unfortunately, last time we were not able to see it.
No, it was
from where we were standing.
Foggy, and it was a little bit farther out. But the Starship, if it does its thing, it's going to be about 45 to 50 minutes afterwards. So there will be a lot going on after the launch. And there's a drone.
Is that allowed?
Actually, unless they have FAA clearance, it is not. There's a new TFR that's over this area, in fact, directly above us, and a drone just flew by.
Going to influence anything with the launch, or they'll just get in trouble for being over here?
Yeah,
we don't want anything to influence. That's one of the things too. We've had a lot of people say, "Joe, get your drone." He doesn't want to break the rules, which I think is a good idea.
Right. You know, up and through Flight 2, they actually allowed drones over Isla Blanca Park, which is about a mile behind us, towards the launch pad. But after that, they erected a temporary flight restriction that lasts 29 years. So it's not quite temporary, but it prohibits flying the drones, and that includes over the roof of Margaritaville.
29 years. Okay. Hello from Italy. Michael says, I think they have a super huge issue with the tiles. Today will show a lot of, and the thought isn't finished, a lot of improvement maybe. Let me see if the thought's finished on here.
Yeah, that's actually a good question, and it's a point that SpaceX has been making recently about the importance of the tiles. They've been doing a lot of work to try to figure out how to have better adhesion onto the stainless steel from the tip all the way down. And of course, the pins for some of the tiles and other places they've been using different kind of glue or adhesive. An interesting thing is we saw a couple of days ago that they destacked the ship. We thought that they were going to be fixing the rest of the tiles, but then they restacked and there's still some tiles missing. And what I think is happening potentially, and this is my guess, but it looked like some of those areas were marked. Possibly they had sensors. Maybe they know they want to get data from a known location where they know the tiles are missing, and to see what the reaction is to the ship with the tiles missing.
Right, which is part of Dennis and Jan's question. Did they replace the missing tiles on Starship? So again, they destacked and they restacked, and we noticed that some were, still missing. So
I think that may go to Elon's comment about, we can't even lose one. Well, I think...
But they're not resilient in certain areas,
correct.
Right? But not
That's
all areas. So hopefully... Yeah.
Right. So I think that, these tiles are missing on the bottom of the skirt by the engines, which should be theoretically a more robust area of the ship. So that may be why they're testing it there. Or maybe they just decided, hey, we have the tiles missing. Let's do something with it.
Oh my gosh, Uncle Yukon gifted 5 Alien Space memberships to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, everyone, for the support. We have more support rolling in. And another thing, if you would like to share my stream on X, that would be very helpful. One of the comments that I get too is, why are you not streaming exclusively on X? And I love X, but you can't super chat on X. And super chats really, really go a long way. So thank you guys if you're able to share the stream. And I know that we'll have more people join as the morning goes on. It looks like we have a guest in the house, maybe. Oh, no, it's just me on a different camera.
Well, I was just thinking, I saw Tim Dodd just made a post, and it's a good thing you're watching Ellie in Space because Tim has the wrong takeoff time. We have the accurate one. He still has showing 7:20, but it's 7:50. So right now we are just inside that T plus 1 hour and 15 minute pole. So that prop loading has begun, and that's a great sign. So there's tank farm activity. It'll probably take them about, probably another 25, 30 minutes to get all of everything cooled down properly, all of the pipes out to the OLM and up to the tower before they can start the prop load.
I really wish I had a table for my computer here. Yeah, I'm just visually looking around here on the roof. I don't see anything. But yeah, we are T-minus 1 hour, 11 minutes. So we have more time to talk. Michael Maxey, thank you for another super chat. Say good morning to your Alien Space cadets. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's actually light now. So that's a good feeling. And we still, from where we're standing, I really can't see much of anything out there. So hopefully that clears up. The thing that I can see is right directly in front of us, a lot of people sitting on another roof, lining up to watch. The roof is a really cool vantage point, but I will say most people go to the park. So the park, you're going to have a little bit closer view, but the roof, I don't know. I haven't watched it from the park, but most people go there. So I can't for sure say if the roof is better, but the roof offers definitely a different perspective. One of the things too, I'm not sponsored by them, but you were able to take a helicopter tour, that was pretty fun. Right.
And it's not just because it's me, it's available to the public. It's a Red Line Helo, our helicopter. And you can pay for the trip, and it's a pretty good one. You get a lot of views of South Padre Island on the way over the causeway, and then over the kind of the salt flats until you get pretty close to the launch site and the production site. And you have to stay outside of the TFR, so you can't get closer than 2.5 miles from the launch site, but you still get a lot of good visibility. The other thing is it helps put into context where everything is at if you haven't been here.
What I'm doing is loading the little clip that you sent me so that we can show them.
But the next big milestone as they continue to prepare the tank farms for the propellant is should be at 7:01 Central Standard Time, and that's when the methane begins to flow into the ship. That is, as long as they're sticking to the timeline that SpaceX has given us.
And let me just load that really quickly.
So that's about another 10, 15 minutes from now.
I think you guys will like to see this, so I'll pop back up in a minute here. Okay.
Yeah, some really good views here from that helicopter ride. You get a good chance of seeing that production site and also the launch site in the background.
So Yes, I did not go on a helicopter ride. Maybe someday I will. You had quite a young pilot, actually.
Yeah, he was in his mid-20s, kind of getting his experience right now until he can go off and get to a higher paying job with a larger company. But you'll see that a lot. He did really great. He's, of course, certified pilot, and I had a great time.
Maybe someday I'll go.
Sure.
But that is some of the views of what you would see if you we have seen Starbase from some really cool vantage points. Again, I wasn't on that helicopter ride, but I was able to see Starbase from horseback, and that was a really cool feeling because, you know, horses, one of the oldest forms of transportation, Starship, our futuristic vehicle to space, to Mars, to the moon. So I'm glad that you guys liked that video, and I'm just going to play some of this next video.
You know, today is not just a historic day for SpaceX, but this is the 80th anniversary of D-Day as well.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of hard to believe how far in the past that is becoming.
Right. And one thing, too, is that it is the 4th launch, and we know... Hold on one second. Okay. All right. Here we have some horses for you. It is the 4th launch of Starship, and if it's anything like the journey of Falcon 1, could be a good luck charm.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, for those who know SpaceX history, Falcon 1, 4th flight, was their first full success, but also kind of a pivotal moment for SpaceX as well. Had that not gone well, then maybe we wouldn't have SpaceX, so it's really amazing.
I really can't imagine what our world would look like without SpaceX. Emily says, you guys look great up there. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everyone who is watching us this morning. We have more people watching, but I think that number is going to grow as we have more activity, and we are a little over an hour away. So, you know, it's an exciting morning, but we do still have some time. I see more people walking along the beach. Joe, what did that helicopter ride cost you?
I used the What About It channel's discount, so it was $25 off. You have to have a minimum of 2 people, and that's just partly because of the weight that you need on the aircraft or the helicopter. Also, I think that they just want to make sure that, you know, they get their revenue for the company. But as far as that is concerned, with the 2 people, and you do have to meet weight limits, but the 2 people with the discount was about $270, so about $130, $135 a person.
And there is an option to do 3 people depending on if
you can.
Go the right way. You had some kids go right before you.
Yeah, and there's more than just the Starbase tour. There's other ones as well, but of course Starbase is the one that we're most interested in.
And Wild Atlantic Man says, question, will you be able to see the booster return from there? Possibly, possibly not. Last time we didn't. So it really depends on visibility, but we'll have to see. Right now, visibility is getting slightly better. It's not great.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I mean, still have about over an hour before that goes. A lot can change. You know, besides the visibility, one of the other things that'll be key for this, whether or not we can see the booster, has to do with if it has that full boost back. If it works the way it's supposed to, it'll be landing out in the Gulf about 30 kilometers, maybe 18-ish miles from us, which is about 3 times the distance between here and the launch pad from where we're standing. But that should still be good enough with good visibility to see it. So the failed boost back, or the premature termination of the boost back, put it about 60 miles away. So this will bring it a lot closer.
And one thing that I also want to point out, we are not that far away from 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we have over 93,000. I can't even believe that. And so I'm hoping that this launch will really put me closer to that goal. So what is that term on Twitch when it's a stream rate or something? So if you guys want to share this and really hype it up, who knows? Dream big, be delusional. Maybe we could break 100K today. And as part of that, I want to give a shout out to the Angry Astronaut who is sharing our feed.
Oh, awesome.
I said, go for it. Any exposure is great. And so let's see if we can get closer to that number. It's really amazing to see the spikes in my channel. If you guys are into analytics or how to grow a channel from scratch during these launches, that's one of the main reasons I make a big effort to be out here and cover this from the ground for you guys. Another amazing $49.50 super chat, basically from John Kalinowski. So thank you very much. It's great to see the support. It really is a humbling feeling out here because I worked for almost 10 years in TV news, and I have to say it is really a nice change of pace to cover Starship versus really sad things.
So good news from SpaceX. They are cleared for prop load.
Great.
Which I don't know if they mean exactly right now or on that timing, but they are ahead of schedule, which is great to see.
That is great. And they still haven't started their stream. They say that they're going to start it about 30 minutes before, so probably not until half an hour from now. So I will be sharing that, but that's why I'm sharing other B-roll and video for you guys to watch right now because they have not started yet. So just know that when you watch the launch, if you stick with us, we will have that as well for you guys to see.
You know, one of the things I think is kind of interesting, earlier we saw a drone fly right over us. And some of the other channels that are covering this, I noticed that they're starting to use drones more and more where they can legally. So for me as a drone pilot, I think that's pretty cool. And it makes me want to, I don't know, I would love to give it a shot. I really would.
Yeah, maybe someday. I mean, and we see people out on the balconies, so people are thankfully awake. We were talking to someone last night, and they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to get up that early. Get up that early!
Yeah. Well, just a personal note, I just want to say hi to my nephew Nicholas and my great niece Reese, who is watching us right now.
Awesome.
So, hi everybody.
El Hungaro says, come on, y'all. You've been gawking at Ellie long enough. Subscribe. Subscribing on YouTube, by the way, is free. And on X, it's for the low price of $3 a month. So I do appreciate the subscriptions. Justin from X says, hey, Ellie, let's go. Let's go is right. We have about an hour, so we do have some time to chat with you guys, but we are very, very excited and optimistic this morning. I have a really good feeling about it.
I hope so too. You know, as you mentioned earlier, there is a lot riding on this. This isn't just a let's hope it goes and let's see what happens like it was on the first flight. This one, they really need to demonstrate these capabilities. And I know that they've been putting so much effort into it, and I really hope that it comes off well.
Denny said, hi, Ellie. We didn't make it down this launch. What an experience it was to see it in March. Yeah, like I said, I think we're very lucky. I actually had another trip scheduled, and that didn't work out, and I'm very glad it didn't because now I don't really want to miss a launch ever. It's addicting. It's like I've been to a total solar eclipse in 2017, and I met the eclipse chasers and people that literally travel the world to see solar eclipses. And so I feel like it's the same addiction here with seeing Starship launches. I actually had someone yesterday down at Starbase say that Falcon 9 launches are boring now.
Well, that's actually a good thing. I mean, that was sort of the goal, is they wanted to get to a point where it's just always routine.
Right.
But hey, it's sort of not really a plug, but it sort of is I recently put a video out, if you want to check it on my channel. It talks about sort of the aerodynamic analysis of the last booster's return. We don't really concentrate on that too much, but it is very important. And I put some milestones that I'm going to be looking for today on the return, and that'll give us an idea, an inclination, at least better than what just watching the live stream at certain places. And I'll go through that a little later in the broadcast, but it'll give us an idea, say at 30 kilometers, how fast it should be going.
Right.
And if it's going at or lower than that speed, I think things are looking pretty good. If it's not, or if we see that instability, then we might not have a good day. So hopefully with that video and the data that I put together, we'll have a much better idea of how things are going earlier on that return.
Yeah, and one of the things too, we were down there at Starbase yesterday, and just the progress on even the second launch tower is moving quickly. Some rumors that maybe we could have it at least visually, constructed by the end of July.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of that's probably not rumors because, they have almost all of the tower segments here. There's the remaining ones that are on a barge on the way here from Florida. And one of the things that they've done different from the first tower is that it's kind of like giant Lego blocks, but they've already pre-assembled a lot of the parts. They have the tower segments themselves. Right. They have piping. They have stairs. They have a lot of the support stuff already in there. So when they stack, it should go together a lot quicker. And they made some modifications on the stack sizes so that it stays within the limits of the cranes. In addition to that, yesterday on the road as we were going in, a new delivery was being made, and it was one of the base mounts for the tower. And it will be part of the infrastructure that's cast into the concrete. And for the concrete base, they've already got the CFA piles in, a significant number of them, and they have something called the pile cap, which is like a rebar cage that's tied into all of those piles. That's pretty much done, and they're putting the formwork in. So shortly after this launch, they're going to be pouring concrete. So I don't know if July is it, but they're certainly going to have a lot of progress on that tower.
Well, that's one of the cool things, is that they were able to learn lessons from the construction of the first launch tower and just do things so quickly out here compared to, you know, maybe other organizations or agencies that I mean, it's just mind-blowing to think how long that would have taken to construct a second tower, basically for anyone else, I feel like.
Yeah, but it's not just the construction timelines, how they do that and that being delayed, but pretty much everybody else, the development of the ship and the booster would take many, many years.
I know.
So that would delay it too, versus here, you know, they've got all of the remaining version 1s of the Starships all the way out through ship 32 done, and through some of them through testing. The boosters, they started doing the booster 15 already. So they have the hardware, they've got the testing facilities, and they're just going to be moving so quickly. It's awesome.
I'm surprised too, because look at our feed from the computer here. It looks quite worse from what we're seeing. Let me know if you guys have a pretty clear view of us, because on my computer at least it does not look very clear. Jason Zimmerman says, by the way, I have been subscribed to Ellie in Space for a long time, but I just checked and for some reason I was unsubscribed. Please make sure this hasn't happened to you. Apparently some people say that YouTube has a habit of unsubscribing people. So if you guys could double check that you have that subscribe button clicked, that would be great, because we do not want, so cool. I see blurry, funky bandwidth. Maybe, I don't know. It definitely does not look as clear, unfortunately, but we do have Starlink, so I think they can hear us better.
Okay.
It's not as choppy. Thank you for another super chat from Fu Man. Love your channel. E and J is a great team. Go SpaceX.
Well, thank you.
The dynamic duo. Very clear, Ellie, looking great. I don't know, maybe it's my service, honestly. So yeah, we are less than an hour away.
We are, yeah, and so prop loading should be underway based on the timelines. And so far, we don't see any indications that they're not doing those timelines. So let's see, 7:01 would be the time. Actually, if they're doing the prop load now, which are at least getting ready for that, that means that they're about 6 to 8 minutes ahead of the schedule, which is great because, you know, throughout the countdown, they're going to be doing various things for prop load, other tests, get to a certain point. But we know that at the T-minus 40-second point, there's a built-in potential hold. Now, if you've been watching any of the static fires or the last wet dress rehearsal, they actually got to that point and they held for 30 minutes. And I'm not saying that that's what we're going to look for today, but they've proven that the Starship can get to that point and hold for an extended period of time. So if there's a problem with the hazard zone, maybe there's a boat or something, or if they encounter an issue that they've got to troubleshoot, they do have at least a 30-minute window, as long as they stay within that launch window, to troubleshoot, even at that T-minus 40-second mark. So we'll be watching for that.
And I know those holds can, you know, make people a little bit worried, anxious if they aren't used to that as well. Just seeing that there are planned holds. So it's not always, I'm not even going to say the word. We're not going to jinx it. Let me just go put this over here.
But yeah, so with the prop loading underway, we probably have It's either the methane for the ship, and also the ship LOX load would be underway. The booster load would probably happen, if we're on timeline, maybe in the next, say, 5 to 10 minutes. And we've seen with that infrastructure change with the new tank farms and the pumps that's been going extremely fast. So, you know, for flight 1, it was well over an hour that they took to fill up the ship and the booster, but now it's into that 40, 45-minute range. Great. And that's actually very important. It's not just time, but every time you put cryogenics into another storage tank or through pipes, you're going to lose a certain fraction of that as boil off. So the longer it takes, the more boil off you have, which means more materials and commodities that you have. And that can not only become expensive, but if for some reason we had a scrub today, then being able to recover as much as possible and not having to refill enough with trucks would potentially let them, you know, within 24, 48 hours. With the first launch, it took them several days, but a lot of that was getting those commodities out there.
Well, and just for this launch, to the order of around, what, 450 trucks?
I don't know the exact number, but I know it is extremely amount. Okay, that sounds about right.
Scott Carr, thank you for the $50 super chat. The view is pretty outstanding and clear on our side. Joe's t-shirt is awesome, Scott Carr.
Thanks.
Is the reason why we have this t-shirt. Myself and the employees at Sunline are proud of what you're building. The IFT4 shirt design should be up today. And someone asked, you know, where can I buy the shirt? So Scott, this is a verbal, you know, green light to get the store back up and running. The reason that I don't have a permanent store is that, you know, we want to get orders in so that we don't make too many shirts. But we have the IFT3 design. If you guys are interested in that, we have the plasma re-entry. So that's a pretty cool version. We have a version for IFT2, my logo on the back here, and we do have one for IFT1. That's by far been the most popular design that I don't have with me. But thank you so much for the super chat. We've had a couple more super chats just since I've been blabbing on. $20 from Truth to a T. Huge thanks to you two. Huge thanks to you for watching. We really appreciate the support. Someone says only 720p resolution. Please change this to 1080p on YouTube. I don't know if we can. I don't know. I'm on my phone, so
okay.
I think the problem is that we have the front-facing camera, but
that might be it.
We could try to change it, and I could just read comments from here.
If you want to try,
what do you think?
You can give it a shot.
Okay, let's try that. All right, guys, bear with me. This is gonna get awkward.
We got to flip the phone around.
So.
Technology is great, but sometimes it's a little bit more of a challenge when issues like this come up. But hopefully we can get you a little bit better resolution. But, you know, the sun is definitely coming up. We can see that there's still some clouds that are on the horizon, but I think it's clearing up. I can almost make out the launch tower from where we're at now. The haze is starting to burn off.
Is there any way you can try to put this in?
Sure.
It needs to be just a little bit.
How's that?
Okay, you guys.
How do we look?
Switched it around. Is this clearer? Do you see any difference? I sure as heck hope so. Break things and iterate. Oh, we have much better. So we will be relying on my computer better. Oh, yay! It looks better.
Awesome.
I should have done this a long time ago, but hey, we still have 49 minutes until the launch, so at least we got it better. But maybe because it looks better, more people will watch. Across multiple platforms, we have over 6,000 people tuning in with us this morning. But last time, I think we hit a peak of like 20,000. So,
well, speaking of people, the causeway still got a lot of cars coming over it, and we see a lot of people on the beach walking down to the Isla Blanca Park.
But not gridlock traffic. And one thing I have noticed, I think this is one of the less busy launches. I think last time and even in November, there were a lot more people. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's a weekday, maybe it's harder to get out here, or maybe just, I have no idea, but less people seem to be here.
This is the fourth flight. So the first one was, you know, the first one. So I think there's a lot of interest. And, you know, I think over time, and not that it becomes routine, but maybe it'll become just a little bit more common. I don't know. But they have a lot of milestones coming up that'll be interesting. The first catch is going to be a big draw, I think.
Yeah, right. Which again, we were hearing in the all hands talk with Elon that maybe that would be on Flight 5. We're not sure now. Probably not, right? We don't think the first catch will be the next flight.
You know, even if today goes perfectly well, they get great data and it lands exactly where they want, I would like to see it more than once before I put at risk the infrastructure out at the orbital launch site, especially since they don't have that second tower. They don't have a duplication of that equipment right now. But what we might see, depending on how fast that tower and everything goes for that site, is, you know, once that's up, then they're much more willing. So that might put it at Flight 6 or a little bit after that. So my hopes for a Flight 5 catch is small, but we'll see.
And we have some more super chats rolling in. Dan, thank you for the super chat. Always so professional. BZ from Old Navy Chief. Do you know what BZ means? I thought you would know.
Trying to think. I'm an Air Force guy, so we speak a different language.
I'm sure someone in the comments will inform us. We have another
Is it the bee's knees? Is that it?
A super chat from Jim. Do you have to be staying at Margaritaville in order to view the lots from the rooftop? So we have an interesting situation here at Margaritaville. And by the way, thank you to Margaritaville for letting us stream up here. We were sort of grandfathered in after the first launch. They have limited the access here to you and I, NASA, and NASA Spaceflight.
Right.
And unfortunately, you know, they can't let everyone up here. It's a safety issue, and so we are very lucky. I am staying at Margaritaville. Joe is not, but we have a circumstance that allows us to be up here, and I really do enjoy staying here. It's a wonderful resort, great pools, great beach access. And for the first launch as well, I have to add that Kimball and Mae Musk were here, as well as Elon's sister Tosca. So the family was up here to celebrate and watch the first launch of Starship. So it's a very special place for us, and hopefully you enjoy the view, and hopefully it gets better. Someone said, your background is foggy.
Yes.
Well, fix it.
I'll see what I can do. I'll get a big fan and blow the fog away.
Yeah.
But just adding on that, I mean, the security to come up to here is quite tight. That we had to go through that this morning. And they were very strict on exactly who could come here. So getting anybody else up here would be very, very difficult.
I've had people say, you know, can you get me up there? And really, it's not up to me. But we hope that you enjoy the view. And James, thank you for the super chat. We have Climber as well with a super chat. Thank you guys for the support. We feel the love. It really goes a long way. Robert has gifted 10 Ellie in Space memberships. So I'm actually not sure how this works, if it's random or...
I think it's random, and I think you have to be logged in a way for you have your email for it.
Oh, really? So someone will get a notification?
Yes,
or
they should.
Well, if someone gets one of the gifted ones, let me know. I think that's really cool. I've never had anyone do that, so we're learning things as we go. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Both, what would make you both very, very happy today? Both go-to guys to explain complex matters simply and Ellie perfect enthusiasm. I think what will make me the most happy is surviving re-entry. Last time was a very good teaser. And, you know, that is, like we said, it's not just a want, it's a need. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be looking for that, but that's going to be later on into the launch that we actually, in the flight, that we see how it does.
Well, speaking of seeing, if it's controlled and it goes to the re-entry pretty well, we'll get a very unique sight with the Starlink, because they showed the last one, even though it was spinning out of control, that we were getting some really great views from the ship. So I expect that to continue.
Is that our roof?
It is. He's just right over there.
Is that John?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
she sees that John Krause, who's a photographer, was the part of the Polaris. Or as part of the Polaris Dawn and the Inspiration 4 is just a few feet over us doing a live stream
as well.
So
I was like, that looks like our roof. We have NASA Spaceflight playing in the background. El Hingaro says, when it comes to flying machines, I draw the red line at helicopters. I do too. Maybe it's you know, unnecessary, but you had a great time.
Hey, if it flies, I'm in it. And I'm looking forward to the full-size drone that you can fly in. That would be really cool.
One thing old Trekkie says might not be fog, could be smoke blowing in from Mexico, folks burning the fields for agriculture. You know, I just want to make a point that one thing that we noticed this time that I've never noticed is the tar on the beach. I went in the ocean and, you know, my legs and feet were covered in tar. That's never happened. So hopefully, and the water's kind of murky too.
Yeah,
so
we've had a lot of strong winds and it's been blowing on shore. So we got a lot of churn within the water. So I'm sure it brought that in as well. But yeah, we're still continuing to progress right now, and ship and booster should be getting their propellant, LOX, and methane right now, which is a great sign. And if SpaceX starts its broadcast 30 minutes prior, that's going to be in about 10 minutes. And we'll be looking for John Innsbrucker. Hopefully he'll be on the broadcast.
Yeah, and someone just said, sorry, can we just see the rocket? Well, SpaceX will start their feed at about 30 minutes, so in about 12 minutes from now, we will be sharing that as well. So I guess I can share another one of these videos here. Again, these are some views that Joe was able to get from the helicopter tour. Okay, so heard the tar is from offshore drilling, oil drilling leaks. There was an oil spill in Galveston, Texas. Yikes. Well, luckily, Dawn dish soap and a sponge will get it off your feet. But look at these incredible views from the helicopter tours. Again, Joe snagged these. I did not, but I still enjoy the view. Is there any blue sky directly overhead for views as it ascends? Well, we'll have to see what it looks like in, you know, less than an hour, but it's definitely getting better.
The answer is a little bit. There's some clouds that come in, but I can also see some areas where there's sunlight trying to come through closer to the horizon.
Look at the balloon. Oh, I just got covered up. Can you see it?
Yeah, the aerostat.
Yeah. Well, the aerostat. A lot of people would point and say it's a balloon.
Or a blimp.
Yeah, a blimp. Love it. But why is the Cybertruck not on the roof with you?
Yeah, the stairs were a little too small. I couldn't quite come up there.
Lots of positive energy, says Emily from Isla Blanca Park this morning. Eric and I are watching with you.
Awesome.
She is watching Emily from the park, and a lot of people are, and that is one of the best places to watch. It's free to walk in from the beach, right?
I believe it is, yes. It's just pay for the cars and parking.
Right. So if you drive in, but it's also pretty cheap. It'll clear for you, I believe. It cleared just in time for Flight 3. I think so, too.
I hope so.
I have faith. Although, man, it's getting a little bit pixelated again. Let me know if it's pixelated on your end. It's starting to look pixelated again here, which is... There's only so much we can do. We do have Starlink working for us.
Yeah, well, it's much better than our first attempt.
To have... to be able to interview Elon's mom and brother and have it pixelated was really a bummer. Hopefully I'll get another opportunity to do that. A little bit pixelated. Okay,
Did you say that you may have some special guests that you might bring on? Is anybody available?
Well, they haven't come on yet.
All right. All right. So not yet.
I was inviting Angry Astronaut. So he's apparently streaming my stream. So if you guys want to chat to him, go be a guest on Ellie's. I send him the link. So we would love to hear from Angry Astronaut. Obviously, he's probably not here in person. But if you guys want to let him know, hopefully he comes on because I'll be able to add him and hear what his predictions are and what his thoughts are. Let's see. Stephen, thank you so much for another generous super chat. $20. Thank you. You're thanking me. I'm thanking you.
We're waiting for the SpaceX feed, but right now I can say that there is frost on the ship. So we definitely have prop loading into the ship, which is great. And they've actually kind of changed their process a little bit. They start with the ship, and then afterwards they start with the booster to catch back up. And I'm not sure exactly why, but a guess would be the ship is a lot higher, so it takes a lot more head pressure to get the cryogenics up through the pipes to the ship. So it may take even though the ship's smaller, it may take longer to do that prop load. So they decided to start with the ship first and then catch up with the booster to accelerate that overall timeline.
Those are some great views. So in less than 10 minutes, we'll be able to share the SpaceX feed. So that'll be really great to have as an addition, and more people walking on the beach.
Yep. So hopefully here soon we'll get that. And you asked if there's any blue skies. There's a little bit up directly above us, but in the direction of flight right now, there are some clouds. So hopefully those will blow away.
Even the aerostat just got much more visible up here. So it's nice to see people on their balconies.
Yep.
And a lot of the hotels here, if you make sure that you get a room that's facing Starship, it's actually a great view. So don't think that just because you can't get on roofs that you can't also get a great view. And depending on, if you want to be in the crowd after the launch, one of the biggest issues is that the road reopens relatively quickly, and so there's usually a lot of traffic to get over the causeway to get back out to Starbase. So, I think that's just the nature of the beast. But if you're at the park also, it can be quite a nightmare to get out of there.
Right.
Can take even up to 2 hours, maybe longer. It took me 2 hours after the first scrub of the first launch. And so just keep that in mind.
That was also a much bigger, busier launch, so
correct.
It may not be quite as bad.
That's a good point.
But we mentioned the causeway. If you haven't been here, there's only one way
Right.
onto the island, and it kind of can be a bottleneck.
Well,
sometimes.
that's the thing too. If you've also never been here, it looks like it's so close, but it's actually you really have to go around to get there, and so it's a bit of a drive.
SpaceX is starting their.
SpaceX is starting. All right.
So we're going to try to put up the SpaceX feed so you get a chance to see the rocket, which is what we're all here for. But from our vantage point, it's still a little bit hazy. But with the SpaceX feed, I'm sure we're going to get much better views of what that looks like. But prop load is continuing for both the booster and the ship. It looks like they're just a few minutes ahead of where their schedule normally would be, and I think that's going to be great. Still looking for that 7:50 local time takeoff, and that's still within that launch window, which is 2 hours log. At 2 hours is from 7 to 9 o'clock here locally. So there's still a lot of time. If they have to do a hold, if they have to do any kind of delay, they have that window. So keeping our fingers crossed that we're still going to see a launch today, and we won't be trying to do this again tomorrow. But looks like the SpaceX feed may be coming up here.
And Ross wants to know, are we planning to go to the launch site after the road reopens? Probably.
I think so. Somebody was asking, what are the criteria that we're looking for a good day? For me, one of the criteria is how did stage 0 survive? And as I mentioned before, are they going to try to move the chopsticks and pretend like they're catching it? But doing that and just seeing what its condition is very important, because that gives us some idea about when Flight 5 might be too.
Right. Which hopefully both of us can make.
Right. I hope so. But let me just see if there's any new updates. It seems like SpaceX is still moving forward on this launch, so they're sending out some very optimistic messages about Starship, so that's still a very positive sign.
And Keith says he finally got his Make Space Great Again shirt. He loves it. So that's another shirt that I don't have with me. It's in my car. But we do have a lot of shirts. So if you guys are interested in ordering some merchandise, I can get the store back up and running. And that, again, is another great way to help support the channel and also have something to show for it, something to wear like this shirt. The shirt that you wore the other day, I saw a couple people wearing that, the highly risky.
Oh, yes. What is it?
Highly intense, immense risk.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that was actually a shirt that was made after the selection of Starship for HLS. And there was another company that...
Who made it?
I don't remember. I bought it like right off the bat because I thought it was really kind of a cool thing at that time, because I think I and a lot of other people were not only excited but extremely surprised that they picked the Starship for the HLS landing.
Well, you know what? I think I'm going to go to the bathroom one more time now.
Okay.
So, do you feel confident? Actually,
Sure.
let me give you this.
Okay.
We're gonna. One of the funny bloopers is when people go to the bathroom mic'd up. So I'm not gonna make a mistake. All right, I will do it.
Okay, well, cool. Well, on the live stream here, you can start seeing some of the SpaceX feed, which is great. They're doing kind of their promo, but hopefully we'll get some live views here shortly of the ship and what is going on. But as I mentioned so far, we're going through that timeline very well right now. And what we can expect to see next is continued with that lock load for both the ship and the booster. And that should continue all the way up until about roughly 3 minutes before the takeoff time. So right now we've got
also known
see,
as
it's
the Gateway to
7:17,
Mars.
so we have about
Thanks for tuning in. We're
33
excited
minutes
to be
until
joining you
takeoff
once again
time.
from SpaceX
So that means about
headquarters in
another 30
Hawthorne,
minutes of prop
California.
loading underway.
As you can tell, the
But
crowd is getting
skies are still
excited
cloudy.
behind
I
us.
can
We're
still
here
see
in
some
front
of the
Mission
clouds
Control Center.
breaking for
Now, we are
a little bit of
targeting
the
liftoff at 7:50 a.m.
sun coming
Central
through, but in the
Time,
direction
in
that
just
I
over
expect
30
the flight
minutes
to
from
go.
now. It's been
It's still a little
roughly
bit
2.5
cloudy.
months
So I'm
since
going
our
to see
last Starship flight
what
test,
there's a
and the
question here on
turnaround
Super
time
Chat.
between these tests just keeps getting shorter and shorter.
Today, we
Let's
hope
see.
to surpass what we achieved in
Thank you
Flight
very
Test
much,
3
Keith,
in March.
again for
Our
that super
primary
chat,
goal is
and
to
I'm
get
glad that
through
you enjoy the shirts.
extreme heat of Starship
And
reentry, which is no
see.
easy feat. As with all of
I
our
don't see any
flight
more
tests,
of that
our goal
right
is to
now.
collect as much data as possible.
But as far
Every
as
flight
what
gets
to
us
expect for
another
the
step
booster, I
closer
mentioned that
to
I
a
had that
fully
video that I
operational
put out
Starship.
with the aerodynamic
Starship
kind
is
of
the most powerful
discussion
vehicle
about
ever
what to
developed, and the
see.
first
I
design
compared
of a
that
rocket
to a
that is
Falcon 9
capable of making
RTLS
life
mission to what the
multiplanetary.
booster's expecting as
Starship
far
will
as its
allow us to land
trajectory.
humans on
And
the moon
there are
again
some
after
differences
more
that
than
are
half a
significant. The
century,
biggest one
fly the
is
heaviest payloads
the
ever
Falcon
flown, and
9
ultimately fly
does
humans
a entry
further into
burn,
space
and
than
they
ever before.
reduce their
Getting
speed
there
on an
will require us to fly
RTLS
frequently,
significantly,
which is why
so
we're
much so
producing
that
so fast.
by the time
We
that
already
ends,
have
which is
hardware
about
built
30
and are
kilometers in
preparing for
altitude,
our
the
next
Starship
several
will be
flights.
going, at
But
least
the
based on
most
the
important
last
thing about
flight,
Starship
about
is that it's designed to be
1,600
fully and
kilometers per
rapidly
hour
reusable
faster
and, of
at that
course,
point.
reliable.
Now,
We've been
the
designing
booster
from
is
day
going to
one
have to
realize the
get rid
vision
of
of
all of
having an
that
entire
energy,
city of people on
which
Mars,
is
something we
kind
know
of a
will take
combination of
launching
kinetic
millions of
energy, which
pounds of
is
cargo and
speed-based.
equipment
It
into
goes
space
with the square of the
across
velocity.
thousands of
So
launches.
the faster you're
The
going, the
faster
much
we
more
can learn
energy that you
now,
have.
the faster
And
we
also
can
something called
improve and
potential
evolve
energy, which is
Starship
based
to
on the
achieve
height
this
above
vision.
the surface.
And that
And
brings
both
us to
the
today's
potential and the
flight
kinetic
test, the
energy,
fourth of
mass is a
many
big
that
deal
will
as
get
well.
us
So we
one
know
step
that it's
closer
much
to
more
Mars.
massive, but
But
we also
before
know
we
it's going to
dive
be going a
into
lot
the
faster.
details
So
of
that's
today's
why
test,
having
let's
that
do a quick
controllability,
rewind and talk
using the
about our
aerodynamic
last
drag to
integrated
slow
flight
it down
test,
is what I'm going
Flight
to be
3.
looking for.
On March
And
14th,
as far
Starship
as
successfully
things to
lifted
look
off
for at
at
30 kilometers, the
8:25
booster
a.m.
should be
Central
going
Time
less
from
than
Starbase,
about
Texas. It cleared the launch
4,300
tower
kilometers
and went
per
on
hour
to
at that point.
accomplish
And
several major
then
milestones
by
and
10
firsts.
kilometers later,
All
which at the
33
speed that
Raptor
they're
engines
going to be
on the
going,
Super
it's
Heavy
about
booster
a
started up
kilometer per
successfully and
second,
completed a full
roughly.
duration
So
2-minute
10
and
seconds
41
later, it
second
needs to be
ascent
less
burn.
than 4,000
Then
kilometers
we
per
saw
hour.
our
And then by
second
10
ever hot
kilometers
stage
in altitude, it
separation,
needs to be
powering
less than
down all but 3 of
2,500
Super Heavy's
kilometers
Raptor
per
engines,
hour.
and then
And then
igniting
at
the
about
ship's
5
6
kilometers in
Raptors to
altitude, which
create
is just
separation.
before we should
Next, Super
expect to
Heavy
see
completed
that
its flip maneuver and
booster
ignited the
landing
13
burn
center
start. It
engine's
should be
forward boost
around
back burn to send it
1,400
towards its
kilometers
splashdown point in the
per
Gulf of
hour. So
Mexico.
that means
All 13
3,000
engines ran
kilometers per hour and
successfully until
about
6 engines began shutting down,
roughly
triggering an early end to the boost back.
25 kilometers in
After descent,
altitude,
we
going at the
attempted
speeds
the
that they're
first
going
ever
needs to be
super heavy landing
bled
burn,
off
which
by the
uses the
aerodynamic
same
drag,
13
and then
center
hopefully we get
engines
a
that
good
we used
entry
on
burn,
boostback.
our landing
Since
burn,
6 of those
and bring the
experienced the
booster
early
in.
shutdown
So
in the boostback
those are
burn,
some of the
we attempted
milestones
the
that I'll
landing
be
burn with
mentioning
the
during the
remaining
live
7
stream when
Raptors,
the
and 2
booster's
of
coming
those 7
back. So
reached main
hopefully
stage
we'll
ignition.
see that, and that'll give us
In
a
the
really
end,
good
contact
idea
was lost with the
of
booster at
where they are
approximately
with that return.
462 meters
I'm
in
going to take a look and
altitude over
see
the Gulf
if
of
there
Mexico,
are
just under 7
any other
minutes
questions.
into
If
the
you
mission.
do have questions for me, or
Post-flight data
if
review showed that
you know,
the
you just
early
want to let me
boost
know,
back burn
can you hear
shutoff
me
was most
okay?
likely
Are we
caused by
still
filter blockage where oxygen is
transmitting
supplied to the
fine? Just
engines.
please let me
We saw a
know.
similar issue on
And
Flight 2 and
I'm a
had
little
added
bit
hardware
new
to
to
mitigate
this
it, which
live
worked to get
stream,
us to our
working
first ever
the
landing burn
equipment.
attempt.
So
Now, for
kind of
today's
bear
flight,
with me
we
a little bit
upgraded
on
those
that.
filters further and made some additional additional hardware
But
and software
looks like
changes
the
to increase
SpaceX
our chances of igniting all
the feed is
13
up,
engines
and
for the landing
the
burn.
traditional people
turning back
that
to the
are on
flight
the
crew
screen
ship,
giving
we
us the
saw all
updates are
6
there. I
Raptor
don't see
engines
John
start
Innsbrucker
successfully
yet,
and power
but
the vehicle
hopefully
to
he'll be
space,
on. It's
marking
kind
the
of a
first
tradition
time
for
we
the
completed its
SpaceX
full ascent burn.
broadcast, and it always brings good luck. So right now it looks like they're doing the replays of the last flight, and hopefully this gives us a really good idea of what we're going to be seeing today. And as we mentioned, the profile is similar to the previous one, but a lot more streamlined. Specifically, there won't be something they call a tip tank transfer, which was a demonstration of being able to move propellant from a header tank to a main tank. And that's a precursor to being able to show in orbit refilling, which is going to be another critical capability down the road for Starship, not just for the HLS, but also for future Mars missions as well. And yeah, not to give too much detail, but the basic idea is the gravity well of the Earth is very strong, and it takes a lot of energy to go from the surface just to low Earth orbit. But once you're in low Earth orbit, it takes dramatically less energy to get anywhere. In fact, the delta V required to get from low Earth orbit to the Moon and Mars is surprisingly almost the same. It's very similar. So getting up to low Earth orbit, being able to do refueling really opens up the opportunities for travel beyond just the low Earth orbit of Earth. So that's why that's so important. But they also are not going to be demonstrating the payload door. Last time we saw that there may have been an issue with some residual pressure inside the cone, and when they tried to open the door, you could see the vapors going out. And so I kind of suspect maybe that damaged the mechanism a little bit for the door. So they're not going to do that this time at all. And as we mentioned, it's on a free return trajectory to come back in over the Indian Ocean, so they don't require a deorbit burn, whether it's a demo or for actual need. And the good thing about that is that this way they are assured that it's going to re-enter and into that controlled area. And that is just a reduction of the complexity of what they're trying to do compared to the last flight. So anyway, Ellie is now back. I will transfer control over back to her.
Did you steal my live stream?
I guess so, but I'm not really great at it. So
what do you mean you're not great?
The booster will perform a flip
maneuver
maneuver followed by a boost back burn. About 2
Has it been
seconds after
choppy?
that burn ends, we'll jettison the booster's hot
only
stage.
just
As
now
it
when
heads
I
back to
moved
Earth,
it a
the booster
little
will
bit.
attempt
So.
a landing
Wow, it's
burn
really
before
choppy. I'm
splashing down
sorry,
into the boat.
guys.
Meanwhile, the ship's engines will remain lit for just under
Please
6
lower
minutes during
SpaceX
its
volume.
ascent before shutting down for the coast phase. The ship will coast for about.
But it looks like they're just showing right now the trajectory of the Starship going over the south part of Africa, over to the Indian Ocean, to that location where we expect to see the re-entry and the burn, the flip and burn.
Wow. And, you know, for the first flight, we were always told landing off the coast of Hawaii. Do you know why that changed?
I'm not 100% sure, but my guess would be the Hawaii one would have taken about roughly 80 minutes. This one allows them to get their objectives done earlier, and it doesn't require as much energy in the orbit. So they could be using either less propellant. We've seen that the booster wasn't 100% full on the previous flight. We'll have to watch and see if that happens on this one. Also, I think that they'll be using a reduction in thrust on the engines, maybe for reliability for the testing. So not having to have such an energetic orbit, bringing it out earlier may be part of that calculation.
Also, sorry guys that the SpaceX audio was on. I left for a moment, and so we have fixed it. Sorry about that.
See what happens when you put me in charge? all mayhem breaks out.
I mean, it's okay. We have multiple things going right now, but luckily you guys can hear us again.
Sorry.
Much better. And someone also said, "Are you using Starlink?" We are. So, wow. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at the SpaceX feed. It looks great from their camera angle. Wow, it looks incredible. Oh,
well, it's
my
amazing
gosh.
when you're a lot closer too. Their camera views are awesome. In fact, that's actually a drone right now. So I'm kind of envious of that drone operator.
And we have less than 25 minutes until the fourth flight test of Starship.
So getting exciting. So that means we got about a little more than 20 minutes of prop load, and then we'll be into the final countdown. Keep the fingers crossed. So far, it's going pretty smoothly. And SpaceX just reminded us all that this is a prototype. It's a test mission. The payload is data, and trying to maximize the flight envelope to get that data is really what the mark of success is today. And you know, if they don't get every single milestone, but they get all the data, that is far more important.
Right. Absolutely. Man, it really is going in and out of being pixelated. So we're sorry about that, guys.
But it may be just I've noticed that there's a lot more Starlinks out here now as people getting more and more of that. So we're kind of in the center of the universe of space at the moment. So I'm sure there's a lot of people trying to use Starlinks, and that may be affecting it here.
And we see the green lights, weather go, range go, vehicle go, and the wind right now, 19 kilometers per hour, much better.
That's very good. That would be surface winds. They're going to be looking at the upper level winds as well. They're not really telling us that, but they're progressing as if everything is looking good. So that's a great sign. And
let's educate about these percentages that we see on the left-hand side of SpaceX's feed.
Okay.
You know, for someone who is maybe new to rockets, and we love that there are a lot of new viewers that maybe don't know anything about how this works, but they want to see the end up and this thing launch. So maybe explain some of these numbers.
Okay, so what they're showing on the SpaceX feed, I know it just went away, but on the left-hand side, they had a diagram of the full stack, the ship on top, the booster on the bottom. The liquid oxygen tanks are on the bottom of both the ship and the booster, and then the liquid methane is on top. And they were showing some percentages of where they are filling right now. And just before that went away, they were showing about 72, 73% filled, which is consistent with that timeline. So they're 3/4 of the way done now, and we're at 20-something, 22, 23 minutes left. So that's still right on track.
And they want to get to a place where they can do this load more quick in the future, but right now it takes roughly...
Well, you know, flight one, it took about almost an hour and a half.
Right.
And they've upgraded a lot of the systems, so now it's only about 40 to 45 minutes from start to finish.
Right, but they'll probably want to do it even faster for that rapid reusability.
Possibly, but we're talking with a combined ship and booster over 5,000 tons of cryogenics. And to move that much in even 40, 45 minutes is already incredible. So it's possible, but it's really a factor of how much infrastructure, how much capability do you want to do? And you also have to keep in mind that the more you try to push in faster, the more of the strain it is on a lot of the pipes and pumps and all that. So there may be a limit that they can really achieve.
And Michael Maxey, thank you for the super chat. Booster prop load complete. Ship prop load begins. Another super chat from MLB. Hello from Margaritaville on a balcony just a few floors below. Came here thanks to you. Thank you. I'm
awesome.
So glad that you have a great view, that you're actually facing the launch pad, and hopefully it does clear up. We have 20 minutes or so for it to clear up. What do you think?
You know, we'll see. It's trying, but it is still quite humid, and that's going to cause that visibility issue.
Oh, that's a funny. Oh, it was frozen on me making a funny face. Sorry for the visuals not being perfect, but one thing that's usually the case is service is very hit or miss, especially down there at Starbase.
Great views underneath the booster right now. What you see is with some of the vapors coming out of the edges that they're doing a chill. They put some cryogenics through the rocket to try to get the equipment, the turbines, everything cooled down so that you're not putting a super cooled liquid onto a room temperature item, and that would cause it to immediately boil off, and then we don't want to have any gas bubbles or any thermal shocks that are going on to this equipment. So they do this to chill it down. We can also see that they're doing the same thing up on the ship as well right now with some of the ventilations that's going on. So that's yet another great sign that they're continuing to progress in. And it's 7:30, so 20 minutes away from the launch.
From Flight 4. I just shared the live feed once
Okay.
again, just because we had a lot more people last time watching, and I just want to make sure that people know that we are live. So,
Just going back to
T
the
minus
timeline.
19 minutes, 6 seconds. On
That's
SpaceX's feed, they have over 568,000 viewers or views. I'm not sure if that's live viewers, but they are streaming exclusively on X. And, you know, I think we should just mention that there are a lot of fake SpaceX channels on YouTube.
Yes, be
they
careful.
have not been streaming on YouTube for a while now, and people running, you know, crypto scams and all
Right.
sorts of things. And someone said that last time they missed the launch because they were on one of those fake channels. So
Man.
please just know that, you know, either on SpaceX's website or on X, you will not see the stream on YouTube unless, of course, it's shared. And that's what we're doing right now. So just please be aware of that. I don't want anyone to be tricked.
Or if it's a NASA mission, sometimes NASA does the feed, and then you can see some
Correct,
of the SpaceX on
correct.
there. But it needs to be an official channel.
So, and right now we have a rendering of the beautiful plasma, which we should be seeing here live in not too long, powered by Starlink also
Right.
on the Starship mission. And those views are just incredible. They look CGI.
Right. So, in that render, one of the things that we're going to be looking for success, is control, and it needs to be at a pitch somewhere between. That one was showing more like about 40, 45 degrees, but somewhere about 45 to 70 degrees a pitch all the way through. And that's trying to maximize its surface area to use the atmosphere to slow it down. And we're going to be looking for that. And also, because of where the Starlinks are located, if it's under control and going through in that attitude, we should get uninterrupted views. So I'm really looking forward to that. The last one, when we saw some of that plasma, it was just, for me, it was just thrilling to see that, because I know we've never seen that before.
It's crazy, honestly. Dennis and Jan, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Ellie and Joe, for making this launch so fun and informative. I think I provide the fun, you provide the information, but you're fun too. Thank you for watching us. We're so thankful for people tuning in to Ellie in Space, and about 4 SpaceX channels on now. So yeah, be
Awesome.
aware of those fake
ones.
streams on YouTube. Let's go.
14 minutes until we get into, everything should be complete, and the last terminal part of the countdown.
Someone says they're worried about the wind. No, I don't. I think
It might be upper level
yesterday.
winds.
Oh, I see.
That may be what they're looking
Well,
at.
they say it keeps tipping up, so I'm not sure which one they're referring to.
Well,
but
if it's the ground level winds right now at you know, the speeds that I'm seeing here, which we're not very far away from the ship, it seems like this is within the limits that we've seen on the past 3 launches. So as far as ground level winds, I don't think it's an issue, at least from my point of view. Now, there is an interesting thing about the wind direction, is it feels to me like it may be blowing towards the south. I'm going to take a look at the aerostat just to be sure.
And sorry,
I can
for
see
some
it.
reason, my StreamYard just signed me out and dumped that. So we should have the SpaceX feedback now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is the winds are blowing from our direction towards the launch pad. So that may dampen down some of the sound that we get, because it's blowing it away from us.
Got it.
So this is sort of our technical thing for our setup, but did you need to set up your reaction camera, or were you just going to use this one?
We'll use yours
Okay.
because I didn't bring it.
Okay. All right.
I forgot it.
Well, just remind me to get that set up here before the launch.
Yeah. How much notice do you need, or how long will your camera? I guess we'll do it like 3 or so, 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll just do it in a few. We're 15
Okay.
minutes out now, so I'll do it in about 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
But everybody's getting excited. I can tell. I know SpaceX is getting excited. They're showing some really great shots right now of it looks like maybe parts of the interior of the Starship as they're developing things. In fact, I think that may be part of an airlock. Now, actually, that brings up a sort of an interesting point. Is we are concentrating on the booster and the ship, and we see what's going on here, and people often wonder, well, what else is being done. There's so many other technologies that need to be developed to be able to support
Right.
a moon landing or anything else. And there is a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Some of it has to do with the.
And it's not all SpaceX.
It's not. But everything from spacesuit development to airlock. They need an elevator to bring the astronauts from the Starship down to the moon. That's under development. Life support is under development. They have an HLS mock-up here that they're doing a lot of testing with the equipment and doing some long-term testing as well to make sure that that is working. I know that they've been working on some of the control interfaces and the software. We've seen some of that too. So there is a ton of work going on behind the scenes that is critical to support these missions that we don't just necessarily see right now. Of course, everything is what we see with the launch, and this is probably the most critical part. But they're not standing on their laurels. They're working on so much else.
Right, and one of the gentlemen that we ran into yesterday, we might be able to do a story out of San Antonio.
Right.
And I think we should. So maybe we'll share that later, or share what exactly they're working on.
Okay. Well, I think we can do that, and hopefully we'll be able to visit them.
They say they're media friendly.
Yeah. Yeah, but one of the many capabilities or supporting functions that people have talked about for us landing on the moon is how is the Starship going to land on the lunar regolith without a pad or some sort of prepared surface? And this particular company is working on technology to make essentially bricks from the lunar regolith itself,
right,
that is able to be put together to make a landing pad to make it more safe and to prevent a lot of the debris from being shot out.
And that's the idea of this in situ resource utilization. So using the regolith that's already there, using the methane on Mars to create rocket fuel.
Right.
It's a lot easier to use materials that are there than to transport
Right.
a ton of stuff.
Yeah, well, when I was flying in the Air Force and we had crew, we always had a saying, you bring it, you carry it.
Yeah.
And that means that if you bring a whole bunch of luggage, you got to carry that luggage. And
Right.
that takes a lot of weight and a lot of space. And for spacecraft, those things are always critical to try to manage. So if you don't have to bring it, it makes the capability so much better to bring other things that you can't make at that location. So technologies like this particular company is critical.
Right. And I think it just goes to show that, it doesn't all hinge on SpaceX, but SpaceX is really leading the way.
It is. I think, the work that they're doing is opening the doors for all of these other companies to come out and try things. That's why I call this sort of the second age of golden age of space travel, is because we have so many companies that are now supporting
Right.
or trying to get into supporting the space business, and that gives us so many different opportunities to try technologies that may work, may not. Maybe we'll learn if it's a failure, but they're trying so many different things, and it's almost like crowdsourcing. The more you get, the more chances of actually getting solutions that'll be functional.
Right. And we are T-minus 10 minutes and 45 seconds. So, wow.
I'm gonna go get this set up here.
All right. So Joe is setting up a camera so that we can get our reaction. One of the things that I like to do is to show the launch and show our reaction. But I have learned to not scream my head off. Although if I weren't live streaming, I would be screaming. And it's because it's a very exciting moment. And so it's hard not to scream, not to jump up and down. One of the things that I love to see are kids here, and parents bringing their kids to experience this, to inspire them. I was with Tesla Silicon Valley Owners Club yesterday, John, and he brought his daughter, and I just love seeing kids here because I didn't see a rocket launch until 2022. So for the first time, in my life, seeing one in person, I was not a kid. And so I think it's a great experience, even if you're not savvy or knowledgeable about what exactly is happening to make this thing launch. It's still a spectacular sight and just one of the coolest things you can go through as a human and witness. So definitely love to see the kids out here. And a lot of people congregate there on Isla Blanca Park. So it'd be great to see those crowds. Maybe at some point we'll try something different and we'll get the crowd reaction. But it is great to feel the community cheering. You kind of get that feeling too with a total solar eclipse of people screaming and cheering and crying and all the above. So people get very excited and with good reason. So we are less than 10 minutes away. Less than 10 minutes away from the fourth flight of Starship. Of course, the last flight was on Pi Day back in March 14th. And so less than 3 months from that launch, we are now having the fourth flight. And we are fingers crossed that everything goes great today. And again, you know, we're going to be watching the entire launch, commentating on the entire launch, because we need several parts of this flight to go well.
Right.
And we won't know until probably an hour from now the true success of the flight.
Although we will have indications along the way, and we're
That's why we're here.
8.5 minutes.
Okay, you got that rolling?
It is rolling. And you can see what we look like over there.
Okay.
And I do have a mic, so hopefully we'll be able to get the sound.
I'm doing a practice. You didn't put it on the dead bird. Good job.
No. But yeah, and right now SpaceX is showing that catch, kind of crazy. But obviously being able to control it and getting into precise location is super critical. And that's what today's flight is. One of the big milestones is to be able to prove that they can actually do that. So really, really amazing. And I don't know if it's coming through with my voice, but I'm getting really excited about this because we are just minutes away from this potentially launching here. Very cool. And also I like the display here. They show the 2 towers. You know, Ellie, you were talking to some people yesterday about where they are located and their proximity. What do you think about that?
Intense and dense. And, you know, that's the thing. I think that if you're not down here and you can't see it from the ground, those 2 towers are pretty close together, surprisingly close together. And obviously we have Massey's now doing a lot of that legwork. We had the first static fire was it Monday?
Yes.
So, and the first use of a flame trench down here. So, I mean, just since March, all of the landscape has changed. And it's a great thing that they have Massey's now fully operating, because that should mean less road closures for the access to the beach. And that was one of the reasons, I think, why they wanted to make that change.
Well, there's another immediate impact of having Massey's and all the testing away. On the first tower, they had to work between making the tower and doing their tests.
Right.
With this, that means they can just concentrate in between the Starship launches working on that tower. So that could make it accelerate as well.
So we have less than 7 minutes from the launch. And unfortunately, it's still hazy. So I think it would even, well, I don't know how much better the view would be from the beach.
You know, the good thing, though, is we do have the live stream up, so we'll get some of the best views from SpaceX. We'll try to describe what we can see. Now, in the past launches, even when it has been hazy, once those engines ignite and it starts moving, you can definitely see through the haze the plume.
Right.
So, you know, we will get a good chance of seeing that. I can almost see where the tower is, though, right now. So it's Mother Nature's trying to clear, but it's still.
I guess you have better vision
just
than
right
me.
out that way, but it's still hazy, unfortunately.
I guess I kind of see it. Man, that's tough.
Well, they're
to
going to
see.
turn on a big blowtorch pretty soon, and that'll help us see it. But it looks like the loading of the ship is about 93, 94%, and the booster is about 90%. We still have about 2-ish minutes before prop load's supposed to be completed, so we're still on time. And if you're watching the filling up process and how much percent, you can see how quickly that's going. And I mentioned it's 5,000 tons of propellant. So you imagine how much has to be added per minute to get to this point and how much more they have to go. It does look to me like the booster is going to be a little bit low on propellant. That's fine. It doesn't have a payload other than data. And again, they want to control what the booster is doing and the ship is doing and not have a lot of excess fuel. We saw on flight 2, when they decided to vent some on Ship 25, it didn't go quite so
Right.
good. So
do you think that that's on purpose for the propellant being a little bit low
I think so.
on the booster? Okay.
I think so. It allows them to have less mass. It also allows them to use less thrust.
Oh,
And less thrust means that they can have potentially a little bit more reliability on the you're not pushing the engines quite so hard.
but you can see watching NASA space flight, it is quite hazy. I don't know if we're going to be able to see that booster.
Maybe not, but you know, hopefully with a lot of the other assets that are out there, we'll, through the magic of the internet, we'll be able to see that as well. That's sort of the thing about doing it live on site, is you're kind of at a mercy of whatever Mother Nature wants to do.
Correct. And we are less than 4 minutes out of the 4th fully integrated Starship test from Starbase here in South Texas. It is getting a little bit windier, but it's, we think that.
I mean, so far so good. You know, the next big milestone, other than having the propellant load completed, which should happen in about a minute or so, is that 40-second point, and we'll see if they get into a hold or not. If they do get into a hold, that doesn't mean bad things. It just means that it's a normal holding point where they can do last-minute checks.
Yes.
They can see if there's anything with the range. They can see anything with the weather. So we will see. But if they blast through that, then you know, the last flight, they just went right on into that launch. So very, very cool.
And we are getting pretty close here. Less than 3 minutes away.
Now, here's an interesting thing is the live stream coming from SpaceX is going to be a little bit delayed from what we see here live.
Right.
So we will probably see and hear the launch a little bit before you'll see it on the SpaceX feed.
Oh my gosh, it is so foggy. This reminds me of the one time that I tried to see a Falcon Heavy launch, and I guess you could say I heard it, but it was fogged, and so sometimes that happens, but that doesn't, you know, necessarily mean anything for SpaceX. The fog, obviously they want to have good views, but they definitely have better views from the camera that they are showing.
SpaceX just said propellant load is complete, 4,500 tons. So as I suspected, it's about 500 tons less than full. I think that's on purpose, and it will most likely be on the booster. And again, that's to allow it to have the same kind of performance with less mass and not as much thrust on the engines. So
less than 2 minutes away from the 4th flight. We will be turning around here pretty soon and cheering. So, wow, what a morning. Oh my gosh, I really wonder how much we're going to see.
Well, we have the internet, so we have a lot of different options, but hopefully, you know, even though if we're going to be using other feeds, the information that we're providing and the reactions are helpful for you, just to kind of get a feel for this.
And almost less than a minute away in just a few seconds here. So we should be turning around and seeing how this goes.
Oh, this is so exciting. Wow. Okay. Just a few more seconds and we'll find out if they're going to go into a hold or not. And awesome. Okay, we'll see what happens.
No, it's still right.
The count is continuing. We've passed the 40-second mark.
We're at T-minus 30 seconds. So
we're gonna most likely see it just before you. And I'm gonna just check, make sure one more time.
Okay, go! Look! Oh.
All right.
Okay.
They have ignited the engines.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard to see. Okay, well, we see something.
It's in the air. It is climbing.
Oh my gosh.
I think so.
It is.
I can hear it. Definitely hear it.
Where'd it go?
It's up into the clouds, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh. You guys hear that? Shh.
Wow. This is awesome. This sound is incredible.
It's so scary.
Get over for your cameras.
It's really loud this time.
Very loud.
Oh my gosh, it's like the biggest fireworks
Well, at
show.
least we got good views from SpaceX. It's quite overcast here.
Why is it so loud this time?
They do have one engine that's not lit.
Why is
So
it
they
so
have
much
certain-
louder?
Just the density of the air with the humidity. But it does look like one engine is out.
Okay.
So there are 32 engines. That should be still fine as far as the performance of the Starship. You have to watch and see if any more come off or not.
I
But-
can't believe the sound.
Yeah.
It's still like super loud. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it looks
It
like
was not
it's
like
at
this.
about 1,500 kilometers per hour right now, continuing to climb.
We're about a minute 30 into flight.
19 kilometers in altitude. So definitely coming up. We got about another minute or so of the engine burn until it gets to the hot staging. It's at max Q right now, which is maximum dynamic pressure of the ship. If we could see it, we would have seen some of the vapor trail coming through it. And it is continuing to operate on 32 engines, now at 3,200 kilometers an hour and almost 40 kilometers. So we're about 30 kilometers short of where we should see the hot staging.
Okay.
And we'll continue on. This is another advantage of having a lower prop load, is it's less mass, so that helps with having an engine out.
Should we move this around, or what do you think we should
Actually,
do? Just so people can...
The reaction is over, so we'll be back here
Yeah.
so you can see.
We're not seeing much out here. We're
yeah.
hearing it. That was incredibly loud.
Yes.
That was maybe the loudest. Would you agree?
Possibly. I think maybe the last one. The last one I actually felt the roof shaking. This one not quite so much.
I don't know. It seemed
Okay.
pretty dang loud to me.
All right, so we're getting really, really close. Okay, they've had the engines shut down. Looks like a normal shutdown for the moment. Hot staging. Looks like that is successful. All 6 engines of the ship are lit. All 13 for the booster, for the boost back. This is the important part. The boost back burn is going to last for, I think, about 30 seconds or so. It has to kill all of that forward velocity.
Right.
And to get all the way back. Now, the good thing is the engine that was out is one of the 20 outer rings. So the ones that are most important for now for the boost back and for the landing burn are those center 13. So that's really important. And a part of that is not only because of the thrust, but also those are the ones that can gimbal and provide that steering capability. Really great views coming from the SpaceX feed, looking at the Starship continuing to go on its trajectory, and also the booster. You'll notice that their altitudes are both above the Kármán line, so that means both of them are now technically into space. The booster should have its shutdown around, I think, 106 kilometers. There you go. So all of them have shut down. It looked to me like it was a normal shutdown. The altitude is going to continue to increase a little bit. We're going to see the speed decrease. It's kind of like a rock now that is just on a parabolic trajectory. It'll go up and it will start coming back down. The hot stage ring has now been jettisoned. This is the first time we've seen that. This is
Wow.
intentional. This is for them to reduce the mass of the ship. Also, it is to, in my opinion, to help with the center of gravity, center of pressure for the controllability later on in the trajectory. And the speed is continuing to, now it is increasing, so it is hit apogee and it's on its way down for the booster. The ship is continuing to accelerate. And so far that is looking good. All of the engines that should be on are on, and all the engines that are off should be off. So now this gets into what I'm looking for.
Right.
It's going to start getting below the Kármán line, which is important. It means it's now back in our atmosphere, but it really won't start feeling the effects of the atmosphere until it gets deeper. Probably around the 50-kilometer point is where you start getting some, and that's where we'll see the grid fins working.
And so far, is this pretty similar to what we saw for Flight 3, or is there anything other than that one engine?
So far, it's
about
pretty
the
good.
booster?
Maybe a couple of kilometers higher on the return part of the boost back, but that's to be expected because they had all the engines light the entire time. So the hot stage ring is off, which is cool. You might ask what happens to the hot stage ring. It's just basically on a free return, probably burn up some in the atmosphere, and then it will impact into that restricted zone in the Gulf. So far, so good. We're at 75 kilometers. You can see the speed is really increasing now. As I mentioned, I'm expecting about 50 kilometers. We'll see the grid fins work for the first time. That's when it starts getting that ability to control the ship. And I really want to see at 50 kilometers the speed around 4,000 kilometers per hour, not much more than that. And then we need to start seeing it having a controlled slowdown.
And we have over.
So really good views here. There's the speed. We're actually below what I was expecting for 40. For 50 at 40, it should be no more than 4,300. And we are below that. So I think that's a good sign so far. We're getting some good views also from the top of the booster, it looks like.
And we're almost 7 minutes in, and that's around the time you said we need to be.
Correct. So we're at 20 kilometers. This is where it started having instability last time. The speed really needs to bleed off now. At 10 kilometers, it needs to be somewhere around 2,500 or so. It's a little bit more than that, but let's see what happens. It's all going to be onto the burn, the relight. That should be happening very soon. Right about now, they should, if they can, relight the engines.
Please work. Please work. Please
It's
work.
going very, very fast.
See the grid fins.
I think it's okay. They got the engines, but I think it's too late. I think it's going to. Well, let's see. Actually, 0 kilometers. We're at 130 kilometers an hour. We're above the water. There's the splashdown. We actually see it.
This is incredible.
I think, and we should see the booster start tipping over into the water. I think that was pretty successful.
We hear cheering.
I think that's about what we wanted to see. And you see how the speed profile was pretty close to what I was saying. That's why I did that analysis. I think that is, at least from what I could see just on the live stream, sitting here on the roof, I think that was outstanding. Now, let's see what the ship is doing. It needs to continue to burn. We're almost 150 kilometers. We need to see somewhat short of 27,000 kilometers per hour for that to return, free return. It's probably going to be about 26,000 kilometers per hour. There's the, they're shutting the engines down. The Vector wraps have shut down. We should see the sea level raptors shut down here momentarily. They did that to control that speed. They want to, again, keep it in that 26,000 kilometer per hour range, which that means we should have,
just leave them up. Just leave the little notifications up so you don't lose it.
Okay, so we should have that shut down. That looks very promising to me. Also, I didn't see any tiles missing from that view.
That was incredible.
That's a good thing.
I can't believe we had that view.
So is this the
Go
last
Starlink.
No.
No.
I got to get the feedback. So sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties here. So far, I don't see the ship spinning. We see some ice. That is okay.
Yeah, if you guys see those little floating particles, that is likely ice, just if you're curious. And we're almost 10 minutes into the flight test. So far, better than Flight 3.
So far, I'm extremely pleased with what I'm seeing. I'm sure SpaceX as well. I'm not sure what they're saying. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, not only the engine's off, but the LOX and the methane show empty. And this is for the main tanks. They also have header tanks that are important for the landing burn. So I don't think this is reflecting the fuel. But the fact that those are empty is another great sign. And the reason why that is a great sign is they don't have extra propellant that they're going to need to get rid of. They should have just enough to allow that ullage pressure that's used for the controllability of the ship within the atmosphere, within the orbit. And that should be what they do to control that roll. And for the next, I don't know, say 30 minutes or so, what's going to be critical is for them to demonstrate that they can keep the ship stable. They don't have that roll. And soon they're going to have to reposition the ship to prepare for that re-entry. So they're going to have to demonstrate that they can do that as well. So,
and I know it's hard to tell, but with what happened with the booster, do you think that the team would consider that a success?
I think absolutely. You know, they got the relight. It was actually a little lower than I was expecting. I was hoping for maybe about 4 kilometers that they start the engines, but they did. It looks like it was closer to 2. The speed bled off amazingly quickly, and it looked like they had a reasonably soft touchdown. What I can't tell at the moment is, was it precisely in the location that they wanted, but they have the data to know.
Right.
But that was phenomenal view. Not only did we see it do all that and hit the ocean, the fact that we saw it, that in and of itself is incredible.
Thankful for Starlink.
Starlink, absolutely. And the views that we're getting from the Starship here right now.
We're powered by Starlink. Starship is powered by Starlink. Starlink is a game changer.
That booster was just incredible. It also, another thing that they demonstrated is an engine out. They could still press to their mission objectives. They still got to the orbit for the Starship. They got the booster back. The controllability was there. We'll get maybe some information later from SpaceX about the jettisoning of the hot stage ring. How did that affect both the weight and also the controllability? Because it looked like that was spot on.
Let me know if we have any lull in the commentary, because we do have someone backstage. Okay. Is this a good time?
Sure, go ahead. Sorry about my enthusiasm, but this is awesome for me. I'm an ultimate geek.
No, don't be sorry. Let me just make sure that we still have this. Dr. Know-It-All.
Hey. Oh, gosh, I'm getting an echo.
Yeah, I don't want it to echo, so let me just, hold on one second.
Okay.
Okay, how's that?
I'm good. That sounds better. No, I can hear myself a lot. Wow. Yikes.
Okay. Okay. We may not be able to do that. All right.
Was it yours?
I don't know.
Try them again.
Can you guys hear? What is going on?
Mute maybe. Can you talk?
Better? No.
We'll have to see that. Maybe on settings, can you turn off the mic for the laptop?
Be able to mute it. Is it better now? No. Why is it doing that? Is it something? Oh my gosh. What did I do to it? Cool sound effects. Congratulations to SpaceX for a wonderful Flight 4. So far, we're in space, powered by Starlink. I don't know what the heck is going on. Oh my God. No, because it's muted. When tech gives you lemons, I don't know if it's. Is that better?
So I can't hear you at all. Sorry. I don't know if anyone can hear me. I was actually just checking my settings. Audio. Let's see. Yes, that should be correct. Uh, hmm. I can't hear you. I don't know if anybody else can. Can you hear me or not? Okay, you can hear me. So I don't know. Let me go. Let me hop over to YouTube and see. Man, I feel like I just screwed it all up for you guys. Sorry. Like I was just trying.
Okay,
I
can
was
you
trying to join the
hear me
fun.
now? Hear me now. One,
Oh,
two, three. You can hear me, right?
wait. Now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Well, what do you think?
After all those technical issues, that was incredibly impressive. I don't know what you think, but
It's been great. I mean,
yeah,
can you believe the views that we just had? That was incredible.
right, and it was interesting side shot there. So there we go.
Yeah. So can you put it back in there? Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I managed to screw up. I managed to screw up your entire live stream. That's
I
what I
think
get.
it was something with my phone. I think it lost connection. So,
Oh.
we just wanted to have some special guests, and just I'm going to give you the floor. Talk about Flight 4 and the success so far. Obviously, it's not over yet, but just talk about what you notice.
So, I mean, the first thing is it's already so normal that it's just the launch part. You couldn't see it, and I felt really bad for you, but it sounded like it was very, very loud. So you got what you missed in the visual, you picked up in the audio. So
It was incredibly loud. And I felt like it was very long, the duration of that noise, more so than I've ever experienced up here. So I don't know if you could hear it from our vantage point, and have you been to a launch yet?
No, I keep missing them. I was supposed to. I was supposed to get there today, but I got into the shareholder meeting, and I just can't manage the time and money and travel and to do both. And so I was very sad because I was actually going to join you guys. So anyway, so that's a big bummer. I was bummed about that one.
So I'm gonna remove.
Whoop, okay. Maybe it's that thing. Acquisition of signal.
I don't know.
Now our mic. I can hear you again.
Now this mic is muted.
Which one?
The one on the camera.
Okay. I can still hear you.
Look at these technical difficulties.
I can still hear you though, if that helps. Can you hear me or not?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So all sounds good. So yeah.
Unfortunately, for the past few minutes here, it looks like we're awaiting acquisition of signal for the flight test. So I
believe that they said that it was. I don't know. It is possible that they've lost. I don't know. They it just may depend on where they are in the flight trajectory too.
Right.
But they did say. I thought they said they were going to be back for quite a like maybe at 30 minutes or something along those lines.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. I was trying to listen to both of you guys at the same time, so it was a little chaotic in my head.
There's a lot going on. Well, we have over 12,000 people watching on, I think, 4 different platforms. So Thank you to everyone watching. Of course, I will say this. I'm glad that all the technical difficulties that we're having right now are happening after the actual, main show. Yeah. How does the audio look on this? Is it the receiver that's dead or something? No.
That's what it's at.
It's almost dead. So maybe we need to charge it. Let's charge it because we need it charged, and we're just going to rely on the laptop. Do you mind holding the laptop while I put these back in the box?
Okay. There we go. Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't try to join 2 minutes before the launch and had all the technical.
Yeah, I was like, sorry, you're going to have to sit backstage.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
So you got me now.
Hey, how are you?
I am thrilled. That was the most incredible thing I have ever seen.
Right.
And I don't know if you'd known or not, but I did like a aerodynamic analysis of what to expect for the booster this time based on the last one. And I would say it was pretty close to what I was hoping to see. Maybe the last part was a little bit more, I wasn't sure, but it
was awesome. So yeah, I thought the expectation was it was going to light. What was it? Was it 4 kilometers or was it only 1? But anyway, it seemed to light at the last. It's like a Tom Cruise, movie. He throws the parachute out just before he hits the ground, and it just opens. And so it worked. Yeah. I mean, whatever it was, it obviously made it to the ocean and then tipped over, and we lost the signal at that point. But So I'm noticing awaiting acquisition of signal, but the speed and altitude are live updating. So that's actually a good sign.
Right.
So whatever's going on with the video feed, it appears to have telemetry still. So that's a plus.
Well, assuming the telemetry is correct, also the little display of the Starship is not showing it spinning.
Yes, and that's a big plus. So it's very impressive how the steps from 1 to 2 to 3 and now today so far, it's just incredible how much improvement they're making with each flight.
Right. It's almost like for your area of expertise, AI and what's going on with FSD, just between one to the next, the leaps between the iterations is just incredible.
Yes, exactly.
I would like to remind people what we just saw with that booster, it coming back, doing all of the aerodynamic drag, reorienting, getting the engines and landing. Other than the Falcon 9, no one has ever attempted that. We've always thrown the boosters away. And even that was just amazed. And
and the scale of it. I mean, this thing makes the Falcon 9 look like a toothpick. So it's just it's a little bit crazy to think about the scale of something like that coming back and landing. Precision landing.
Exactly.
Also, I don't know if you saw the hot stage ejection when they ejected it. That was really cool looking. That looked like some sort of science fiction movie graphics or something. It was, and a lot of little pieces of bits of stuff also coming off of it. So that was really cool.
Yes, some of it may be ablated from the hot staging itself, and they're gonna. I mean, with that telemetry and that with the views, they'll be able to really get a good idea of how that current design of the hot stage survived the event. And for those that are asking, by the way, that kind of invalidates the idea of full reuse, right? And I would just remind you, we're in a prototype, and reuse clearly is not the goal right now. We just put a booster in the Gulf and we're celebrating that. We're not reusing it. But
they could have done that without any trouble at all. Just let it go and it would have fallen right in the ocean.
Exactly. But we're building for the future where they will have it incorporated. And this is helping direct what that design is going to be.
I think it's well, sorry, Ellie.
No, go for it.
Okay. I think they were talking about that this morning on the SpaceX live stream, that the part of the problem with that hot staging ring is it's kind of bolted onto the boosters right now. It was not in design intended, so it's very heavy. And they said that once they get the next iteration of the booster done that has the integrated hot stage ring, they won't have to do it because it'll be more lightweight. So right now it's a very heavy piece that they've stuck on top, and it also just completely, as you were saying, I believe it changes the aerodynamics of the entire vehicle because it's got so much weight on top.
And Elon just shared about a minute ago, external camera comes online in 11 minutes. So
cool.
Should be coming back.
All right.
So that's actually a great indication that just because we don't see the images doesn't mean that something has happened. The telemetry we are seeing is good. And once again, I'll point you to that little diagram of the Starship, assuming that is accurate. It is not spinning. That's critical. And that's sort of the next big milestone is, can they keep it from spinning? Can they reorient it for the reentry and then keep it stable through the reentry? That's what we're looking for. But
let me see how the battery is on this. I just want to make sure.
Okay.
It's okay.
If you need a battery backup, I've got
Well,
that
I do have my charger up here, but I don't think that I need it yet. I'm just trying to. We've been streaming for a while now, so over 2 hours we've been streaming. Actually, we've been.
Yeah, you guys. That's a marathon. That is tough work. So
Well, what you don't see is it's super humid.
Yeah.
I saw it was like 108 degrees Fahrenheit yesterday. Scott posted like a picture of his car.
It's been very humid, and the weird thing too is that we really haven't had the issue of bugs. At least that I didn't notice. I haven't had any bug bites, but the winds and the humidity have been pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Right.
People are saying, great live stream. We appreciate you sticking with us. Right now, we have almost 13,000 people across platforms. And so we're keeping you updated and awaiting that acquisition of signal. Apparently, of course, SpaceX knows what's going on and should be coming here in about 10 minutes.
So, just to let you know, Elon said we have acquisition of signal. internal cameras are transmitting, figuring out why external cameras aren't external cameras coming online in 11 minutes. So whatever the telemetry is working, hopefully, if people don't know, the reason why we're still watching this is not that this is going into orbit, but it was intentionally suborbital. So it's a little bit of a high hop, and it's going to come down in the Indian Ocean. And the goal of this is to see how far this thing can get with its heat tiles through the atmosphere before it breaks up. I mean, with luck, it might do a landing burn as well. Remember, 26,000 kilometers an hour, somewhere around 17,000 miles an hour. This thing is coming in hot. So when it hits the atmosphere, it's going to be really. So if we get what we got last time, we should get some really beautiful, like glowing, plasma.
Jared Isaacman with the Polaris Dawn crew, of course, with Inspiration 4, commented, "Congrats to you and the SpaceX team. The progress between Starship launches is really mind-blowing. The world is getting closer to a really epic capability." So he's not here. He's actually training really hard right now, of course, with the upcoming Polaris Dawn launch. And so
which could be a few weeks from now.
Right.
I know, right? That's crazy.
He would typically do a flyby, and I messaged him and I said, "Are you still going to do that flyby?" And we didn't have one yesterday that I was aware of. No. So he said that there might be, someone else doing one, but he's training. So that's a good sign.
I know.
Well, speaking of good signs, you mentioned it earlier. This is the 4th flight, and 4th flights for SpaceX have been great. So far,
that's
so
true.
Good.
That's true. That's true.
Now,
this is
you were mentioning
the company moment, but but still,
Yeah, well, you were mentioning the heat shields and the importance of that. I don't know if you noticed yesterday, but when they restacked, they didn't completely fix all of the heat tiles.
Oh, that was they said that in the whatever launch briefing. They said that they've left some of them off and put sensors on. So they're actually going to be they're going to be like listening. They're going to be looking to see how hot those spots get without the tiles.
For all the people that thought I was crazy when I said that was most likely what they were doing, there you go. Validation once again.
So now, Joe is right.
Let's move over here. I don't want to hold this the whole time and worry about it flying off into the pool. We're on the roof.
I was going to say that's a long way down. You'd get a really cool view while it was spinning.
If it falls here, it'll fall. Although it is a bit louder here, so hopefully you guys can still hear me here. But we are still awaiting that signal, and we still have people watching. So thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the launch. Maybe there's a way that I can download a replay or something while we're up here. So. Joe, if you want to say anything else, or John, of course.
I'm actually surprised that they're not showing some replays while I did see that they tried to do an acquisition of signal just a few minutes ago, or seconds ago. It kind of came up and looked like an old school like television.
I saw that. A little bit of noise there. Joe, the ultimate nerd, heart.
Thanks. Well, if you want me to space while you're looking at that, we could talk about that reentry. And John, you were mentioning, watching that plasma and the speeds that they're coming in, and they're coming in at such a high velocity, and it's creating such a interaction with the atmosphere that it's causing shock waves, and that's so energetic that it's stripping electrons off of the molecules. So the plasma is what we're seeing is those electrons coming off and getting that glow, and the more intense that glow is, it's the more of that interaction and that plasma buildup, which means the atmosphere is doing a lot of that work to help slow it down. Right. And
if you think about it, you've got the whole booster and the whole Starship to get up there, and you need nothing to get it back.
To guide the booster, and there's that
landing. You might want to turn that down just a little bit.
And you can see
there we go.
Awesome.
Look at that. It's just incredible.
And then you see the booster sort of tipping over, which, I mean, you can't have a better indication that it was a soft landing than that.
Exactly. Yeah, that was just really impressive. Wow.
Another thing about that, what it demonstrated is because they had proper speed control through that denser part of the atmosphere, it also allowed the engines to be within parameter to have that successful start.
Right.
If you get it going too high of a velocity, then it makes it difficult to start those engines back up.
Right. Can you go back to the beginning of that, because it looked like there was some things that fell off the booster as it started up its engines. I'll let you know. I'm watching the X stream, so if the acquisition,
Okay,
if it
I'm
comes back on.
downloading a couple more videos, so yeah, just communicate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
watching the X.
Oh yeah, see right there. If you rewind that just a little bit, there was some big chunks of something came flying off the booster, just as it goes through the clouds.
Yeah. Well, one thing
Right
for
there,
sure
yeah,
is,
like whatever that was some big chunks of something.
yeah, not all 13 of the engines were going. It was 12 of the 13.
Yeah.
So
we might have had a RUD. One of those engines might
it
be.
might have been. If that's the case, then that shows that the shielding that they put in since Booster 7 has really made a big difference.
Exactly.
And hold on, I'm just downloading one more clip here.
Okay. So right now we're about 31 minutes or so. So we're probably, I don't know, less than 10 minutes away from re-entry. So
and hold on, it's going to get loud again. Hold on.
9, 8.
There we go. Yeah, we can watch the magic, which you couldn't see. I'm so sorry you couldn't see. Could you see a glow or not, or was it just?
We saw it glow briefly, but man, was it brief.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So they lost one engine almost with about 5 seconds in.
Yeah.
But I believe their criteria, especially with this lower mass for the propellant, is probably 2 or 3 engines maximum out. So
I heard 3 previously. So yeah. Okay. But I mean, well, obviously it didn't affect the trajectory or anything. It got up to where it needed to go. Everything seemed to be, the locks and everything was down to the right levels. So yeah.
Right. I was going to say, in a way, that's actually a good data point and test to have. Is it validates their projections that if they lose an engine, they can still perform, the mission.
Exactly.
And the way you compensate by that is with the rest of the engines, you can dial them up a little bit.
So right here, this is
that shot. That is
amazing.
So cool.
There should be no more noises. I'm sorry. I have to load them, and then there's automatic sound. But now we have the 3 clips of the hot stage jettison, we have the launch, and then we have that booster return. So we can flip-flop between those. And here's the replay of the launch again, because we are still waiting. We are looking on the SpaceX feed. We still don't have the signal back, so don't worry. We're not depriving you of anything.
If the telemetry is correct, they're at 188 or so kilometers. They are decreasing in altitude, which is expected. They've essentially passed their apogee point, and they're proceeding towards perigee, which is the lowest point of the orbit, and it happens to be within the atmosphere now intentionally, and that will cause it to have that free return, which is part of this mission profile. So
we're getting the Blue Danube on the X stream, so that's nice. I appreciate the music.
Yeah. But we should see pretty soon a good decrease in the altitude as it gets closer and closer to that.
Right. I mean, 184 kilometers is still well above the Kármán line, which is about 100. So they still have, but it's also picking up speed. Also, notice that the Starship is a slightly down angled now. If you look at the data, so
again, we're assuming that icon is accurate. That's about all we have at the moment.
Yeah. We're gonna get as much out of that as we can. We're gonna watch those. So so they're not doing, so they have free return. So the locks in the CH4 will not be used until the final burn, assuming that
those are going to be in header tanks. So I don't think it's reflected on this screen.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was what the extra little teeny bit was. There's a teeny little bit, which I assume.
Oh, I guess so. I guess really small.
Yeah.
Compared to about 1,500 tons of propellant.
Right. Exactly.
It's very little.
That's all it takes for a soft landing is that much.
Yeah. It's only like about 20 or 30 tons now.
Right. So one thing that would be interesting for SpaceX, I know that they don't give a crap about what I say, but when they get to the header tank, it would be good to reset the, redo it. So have a header tank value so you can see it as 100%.
Right.
So you can see it draw down more, because at this point, that tiny little thing, there's no way you're going to get any valuable information out of that. So, but I'm hoping that they reacquire their signal. That would be really sad if they don't.
And thank you, St. Miles. People are still watching for another super chat, $20. Excellent replay. Yeah, I tried to download some clips, so sorry that they're short, but it is great to have a replay. And it'd be nice if SpaceX put up some B-roll or something, because they just have trying to get the signal back. But man, do they have a clear view compared to what we saw? It's like a Falcon Heavy redo for me when I got fogged out. But great.
You're bad luck. You're bad luck, unfortunately.
Well, the other maybe bad luck is there's a dead bird up here. But
oh, geez. Oh, gosh. You think the sound killed it? No.
Well, the good news is it sounds like they have the internal feed. So even though we're not seeing it live at the moment, we should get video from them later on. I know they're probably working extremely hard to get these feeds up because they want us to see it as well.
Well, they probably want to see it themselves. They're probably like, we want to see this.
Right.
Okay. So we're down to 170 kilometers and we're decreasing. The orientation of the Starship has changed. It looks like they may be positioning it for that reentry.
Oh, we have signal.
Do we?
We have signal. You guys are probably just,
yes, we do.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, good.
And it's moving. So we do have signal. We have real signal. So it's not just a still frame. Wow. And look at rock solid, no spinning. That is
trying to figure out what we're looking
at. It's one of the fins.
It's the base of a fin.
Yeah, I just can't tell if it's the front or the back. I don't know. But
yeah, and you can see the shadow. It's not really moving. It will move a little bit because it's moving in the orbit.
Right.
But it's staying pretty rock solid, which is cool. Oh, I see the fin is kind of retracted to some degree.
Exactly. It's kind of like, well, not like that, but like this.
All right.
So, yeah. So, and we're seeing the Earth rotating under it. So if you don't believe this is live, you can actually watch the whatever there's clouds and stuff. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's out over the Indian Ocean, well out at this point. So, but that does look like land down there that it's passing over.
Yeah.
So maybe it's I don't know what landmass that would be, but
it might be based on the speed they're going. It may be the tip of Africa as they continue to towards the east. They're at 160 kilometers now.
So it'll be a while.
Lost
still.
almost 30 kilometers. Speed staying up. That won't come off until we start seeing that plasma. And it's still going to take a while for it to start coming down. But, I would, if it continues to do well and go through the entry, somewhere around the 50-kilometer range is where we're going to see a dramatic deceleration beginning.
Right. But we should start seeing, if I'm remembering correctly, somewhere between 110 and 100 kilometers, it should start to glow a little bit. We'll see enough atmospheric interaction that it'll start to do something.
Yeah. Even though they're above the Kármán line, they're still little tiny molecules. And the speed that you're going, it's almost like a mini aurora, if you will, it should start
actually
glowing.
It's pretty much the same. Well, no, I mean, it's ionized air, different source, but you notice also that the speed is increasing because, of course, if you think about this is the same thing as throwing a baseball up in the air, and it reaches its peak altitude, apogee, and then it starts to fall, and as it's falling, of course, it's gaining speed. So you're noticing that it's losing altitude and exchanging that for higher velocity. So it should be oh, is it the bow fin? I don't know if it's the bow or the stern. That was, St. Miles.
Thank you very much, St. Miles, for that super chat.
I think it's the bow because look at the angle of the ship is up like this. If you look in the little graphic, and we're seeing it that way too.
Well, you think about it this way: we're seeing the bottom part of the fin.
Right.
For us to see that on the lower fin,
it's got to be below that.
Would have to be out.
Yeah, that is true. So that's even better.
I appreciate you guys carrying the conversation. Sorry, I have to do a few things just because I am a one-man band and I have to be on top of. Well,
look at this.
Okay, well,
my chop liver.
I just don't want people to think that I'm like scrolling on TikTok or something. I have to.
That's what Ellie's doing. You're just watching your doom scrolling.
Yeah, I'm tuned out. I don't care anymore. No, I'm trying to get things
We're at T plus 40 minutes. Probably another minute or so, we're going to start seeing the very beginnings of that plasma. Looking at that ship diagram, it's got that attitude that I'm expecting probably. Let's see what SpaceX says.
Okay,
and
here we go.
Elon also posted successful soft landing of the Starship Super Heavy rocket booster. So he's deeming it successful. It looks successful to us from up here.
I gotta woohoo!
Yeah.
I get the fireworks going.
But yeah, so anyway, it's at that pitch, probably somewhere in that, 50-ish degrees. They need to maintain that all the way through. Right. What that does is it gives the maximum area to try to start getting that atmospheric drag.
And of course, the back end is stainless steel, and the front end is the heat tiles. So obviously, they've got the heat tiles aimed.
And Eric Berger writes, the ocean landing of the Super Heavy booster was a remarkable moment. By way of comparison, the Falcon 9 rocket first stage made its first controlled ocean landing on Flight 9 in April 2014. So that really puts it into perspective.
Right. And again, remember, the Falcon 9 looks like a toothpick compared to this thing. So.
Yeah.
If you notice with the lighting improved, we're seeing the edges of some of the tiles next to the fin.
Yeah, and they've stayed on.
Kind of that heat mat that's underneath it as well.
I think they're just going to flip it over to like a graphic now.
Okay.
This is not real. Not real, folks.
Yeah, but this is what we should see.
Right.
And it needs to keep this attitude most of the way down. It will transition to what the belly flop would be, but right now, the space shuttle did something very similar to this as well. The one thing that the space shuttle did that I don't know if this one will do is it had kind of S turns a little as it was coming in, and that helped lead off a lot of the energy as well.
Yes, exactly. Gosh, these live views are incredible.
We're at 130 kilometers.
Could that be ice on there? It looks like ice on there.
No, there's a white heat material that's between the tiles.
Gotcha. But the tiles definitely look like they've stayed on, at least from what we can see, much better than last time. So
well, yeah, at least from this angle. And the reason why the tiles are kind of on the leeward side of the fin is that some of the plasma will wrap around the edge of the fin, and this will help give a little bit more of that protection in critical areas. And of course, the fins are very critical, not only for control, but they kind of stick out into the wind stream, if you will. So they're going to pick up a lot more of the heating than the ship, and the ship can distribute it over their entire area, whereas these are much more confined locations.
Yeah, and you can see actually where the tiles end right there. So that's looking backwards towards the stern of the ship.
So that would be the aft fin we're looking at, I believe now, and this is similar to what we saw on the last flight. So we should start seeing the plasma generated here soon.
Another 10 kilometers, 15, 20, somewhere in that range.
By the way, how is our audio? Can you hear us pretty well?
Yeah, you're great. You're great. Okay. You guys are great. So, wow, we're definitely seeing land. Watch, you'll see it in just a second. I'm a little ahead of you.
Joe, enormous respect for your knowledge of engineering.
Oh, well,
I know. Joe you are the man. Look at that. That is so cool. It's just like, I didn't expect that we were going to be this close to land.
Wants to know, I don't think any questions are dumb questions. David wants to know, could there be anything close by to see it land externally? Forgive me, dumb question.
Unless they have a ship out there. They're going to land it far away.
I would say it's probably not a dumb question. The last flight, right behind us, the actual NASA imaging team is here, and they have team members that were out in various locations. Last time they said that they had no assets.
Gotcha. So you notice that we're starting to hit atmosphere because little pieces of the ship are coming off. So the only reason that would be happening is because we've got some level of atmosphere here. So I just saw a couple of little, not tiles, but looks like one tile may have come off there, I think. So like right there anyway.
Yeah, well, with the limited view we have, it looks actually pretty good.
It does. No, it looks great. And
thank you, Phil. We have 14,000 people watching. We've been almost going for 2 hours and 45 minutes. We're getting close to that. So thank you for another super chat. And thank you to Dr. Know-It-All for being a guest.
Of course. This is way more fun than watching by myself. So
I feel like we're rapidly iterating. I was telling Joe, at first we didn't have Starlink. Now we have Starlink. And, now the idea of bringing guests in for additional commentary.
I know. It's starting to glow, by the way. It's starting to glow. We're getting glow.
Okay.
Right around 110
close to the Kármán line.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing that we want to watch is that not only what we see, there's some of that plasma, but we want to see that pitch stay like it is.
Right.
That is awesome. And
so this is really, I mean, if you guys remember IFT3, it was spinning. It was all over the place.
Remember.
Yeah.
Well, because of the amazing Starlinks, everything that we're seeing from now on is stuff other than last time is the first time ever. We've never been able to see this.
Yeah, partly because the ship is so big that it creates a hole in the ion, but also because it can shoot the Starlink signal up instead of down.
Gosh, look at it.
That is incredible. And the clouds behind it are making it beautiful. Wow.
Michael is right. Thank you for the
That is
super
so
chat.
impressive.
How cool is this? I cannot believe that we get to see this from the powered by Starlink. This is
the other thing I'm looking for right now. If it keeps this attitude,
Lane says hi.
Hi. If it keeps this attitude and it continues in this way through the atmosphere, we'll probably see color changes in the plasma because it's ionizing different gases, and it requires different energy levels to do that. So that is reflected in colors. So we'll see that as it comes through.
This is unbelievable. These views, I can't even fathom this. Wow.
All right, we're almost 10 kilometers below the Kármán line. The atmospheric pressure is still very small, but the density is increasing. I would expect maybe in another 10 kilometers we'll start to see the speed maybe dip, but it won't happen a lot until we get to about 50 kilometers or so.
Right. So we are. It's still it's still accelerating a little bit, just a little. It's more or less steady state.
Is it frozen?
It is.
I can't tell because the plasma is so consistent. It's hard to tell.
Well, the telemetry is still working. We see the orientation of the ship. The clock is still going.
Right.
So far, so
good. I think it might be frozen. I don't see any change, so that would be weird. But wow. But we're still getting telemetry, so that's good.
It's true. I think we lost telemetry on the last flight at around 56 kilometers.
Right.
So that'll be
no, it's live. I just saw the fin move. So
okay.
Yeah, I think it's just so rock solid that
the fin just moved.
Yeah.
Good.
So, wow. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is amazing. So you can tell that the camera
colors are changing.
Yeah, and the camera is resetting, it's recalibrating, which is why everything's looking blacker and blacker because
and the speed is now decreasing, kind of like what we talked about.
Look at that view. Oh my gosh. What? Oh, sorry. Yeah, it just looks. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That means beautiful.
This is really geeky, but that's ionized nitrogen.
Right.
Okay.
Which also means we're getting deeper into the atmosphere because there's not so much nitrogen very high.
See, I'm not just a drone guy.
Joe is the man.
If you made your own SpaceX channel, I think mine would be not as watched.
Okay.
So please don't.
So the things to look at now is we're probably at about, not even 0.1% of the density, but it's going to rapidly increase.
Right. Oh, there's some stuff coming off the back too. A little bit of like wraparound that you can see barely at the top.
Okay.
So, and again, the reason why it looks so dark is because the camera is automatically adjusting exposure because the ionized atmosphere is so bright. It's like looking in the sun. Everything else looks very dark. So, yeah.
Something else I'm watching is it's still a little bit high for the fins to be providing any kind of authority.
Right.
They're going to be rapidly using that more and more, and we'll see how the fins are as far as controlling.
And thank you for another super chat from Bimmergazer. Oh my, Ellie and Joe. Why would anyone watch anyone else? Well, we appreciate the people watching. Wow,
There's a good view. You can see it wrapping around
stuff. There's stuff coming off too. Yeah.
We didn't see this kind of purple last time.
No, because it's a much higher energy and it's ionizing different kinds of gases. And that wraparound is why the tiles are on the leeward side, away from the wind of those fins, is because of this wraparound. Okay, 70 kilometers. So
still we're really starting to dump some speed now. We're dumping speed.
Exactly. And like I said, when we get to 50, it's going to start really picking up the G's and decelerating it.
Right. Oh, they don't have a G meter. It'd be cool to see a G meter on this.
That would really be cool.
Yeah.
You know that they're measuring that because if this is going to carry people, they need to keep the G's within a certain realm.
You guys are about to see an amazing view. It's going to flip for you in just a second. Wow. That is so cool. Look at that view. Wow.
Joe,
I can't believe how good this is.
Well, below 100 kilometers is generally considered in the atmosphere, but at about 18,000 feet-ish, we get to about 10% of the density. And then at about, I'm sorry about that, at about 20 kilometers, it's about 10%.
Right. Yeah, 20, okay. I was like
5 kilometers, it's about 50%.
Right.
So that's why you're going to see the speed progressively scrubbing off faster and faster as we get deeper and deeper. And as we get past 50, it's going to start really. It should be decelerating considerably.
Oh wow!
Right.
At this speed now, we're probably still doing something like 8 to 10 kilometers a second in altitude decrease.
Yeah. And notice how steep the angle of the attack is right now.
It has to
really,
be, because
full bore.
it needs to use the entire surface area of the Starship to give as much drag as possible.
So when was the breakup? Was it like 65 last time? Because we're getting really 56. Well, let's see if we make it past there.
Oh
Thus
gosh,
far,
oh,
it has
so
been very
close.
controlled. So yeah.
Crossing my fingers in case that does anything.
You know, interestingly enough, the tiles themselves, at least what we can see, do not appear to be glowing all that much. So they must be doing their job very well. So really impressive stuff here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, with the camera being dialed down and also black body radiation.
Yeah.
Exactly what we're going to see with the tiles.
Right.
I wonder what this would look like from a ship in the Indian Ocean.
Here's something to notice.
Like a meteor.
Assuming that the altitude is not frozen, it's kind of skipping along the atmosphere, which means it's using more of the horizontal to decelerate rather than coming vertically through the atmosphere. So we're using the atmosphere for our benefit and staying as high as possible, as long as possible, to scrub off the speed.
And the reason why, of course, is because you don't want to dip into the thicker atmosphere. Number one, for G's, and number two, it's going to heat up faster. So allowing it, and this thing has lift. You know, at these kind of hypersonic speeds, even a big tub has lift, like the space shuttle did. So that would make sense that they're kind of like just trying to skip along as much as possible.
We're seeing it's kind of something coming off around the fin. I think that's plasma. It could be possibly thruster, but I think it's plasma.
Well, and thank you to Truth to a T. Oh my gosh, now it's getting bright and the sun is coming out. Yeah. You're kidding. Truth to a T, thank you for the generous super chat. Love this, and much better deal than a concert ticket. Well,
awesome.
I'm glad you like our concert.
Awesome. You know, the other thing about the altitude, assuming it's accurate, is this is showing a tremendous amount of control to be able to keep it within this current plane of the atmosphere right now. And this is just wonderful. And if say it was a nighttime and you were near that area, it would look like a meteor coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be really. Oh, it's just starting to go down. So yes, I think they actually were able to skim the atmosphere. So that's going to keep heating low, keep G's low, get it to where they need it to go. I just saw a big chunk of or big flame come flying off at some point. But yeah, it's
well, that's cool.
I know.
It's sort of.
Wow, I just.
Yes.
So do we have a lag?
Yes, I'm seeing it about 5 seconds ahead of you.
Gosh,
10 seconds. So.
But if you ever watched the space shuttle on its return and they had the cameras up through the windows on the top, you would see these flashes of light, and it's that plasma. It's the same thing I think we're seeing here. Look off the end of the ship, the plasma that's coming off the tail end.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Wow. All right, baby, let's get down. Let's get down.
Another thing is with those tiles that we're missing on the aft skirt. They're not only getting data for that because they said that that's what they're doing, but it's also showing, even with a few tiles in a non-critical area, that it's still doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We still have a lot of velocity to kill off. We're at 21,000 kilometers an hour, which is still incredibly fast at 64 kilometers.
Right. It's crazy. Wow.
The atmospheric density here is still very low. It's maybe 0.1% at this point. So it's still not a lot.
Right. But interestingly, we're starting to get some vortexes, because you can see pieces coming off and then kind of floating there and not immediately flying up.
Well, if the grid fins are any indication.
Oh, you guys are about to see an amazing view here.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at
that is beautiful.
Yeah. If the grid fins were an indication on the booster, or somewhere around that 50 kilometers, we're going to start seeing the fins having controllability.
Yeah, I think we are, because I'm seeing it actually rolling a little bit.
Okay, there's I think that was the camera.
Oh, it might have been the camera. Yeah.
No, actually, I take that back. It has to be the fin, because the camera's on the fin.
Exactly. So they may be attempting some control with the fins at this point. So first time we actually have control authority. This is all, by the way, brand new territory.
Exactly.
This is like great. No one has ever landed. Has anyone ever landed a second stage ever? Like soft? I don't think so.
I don't believe
well,
so.
okay.
Unless
I mean, aside from like
LM.
like the Apollo missions or something.
Yeah.
I mean, those kind of things, but those are just gumdrops.
Based on what we're seeing, do you think that it will be successful?
It's hard to say. We're really getting into the denser part of the atmosphere now, and the G-forces are going to increase, and the loads on the ship are going to increase here very soon. We're just about to pass through where the Flight 3 got to. But as far as the time, we're 10 minutes beyond that already.
Yeah, because it was tumbling and just falling at that point with the other one. So
Thank you, by the way, Bobby, for another super chat. Your presentation is super. I'm just so glad that, over 14,000 people are watching this. If people are sleeping right now, boy, are they missing
this
out.
Is cool. You see they're holding the altitude again, roughly around that 58 or so. Again, they're trying to use the atmosphere to do the work to reduce the speed before we get into the super dense atmosphere where the G-forces would come up really high. It's almost like a parachute. If you deploy it too high and too fast, then the shock is just way too high. So they're trying to avoid that.
So, and also a huge kudos to the Starlink team. I mean, holy crap. The fact that we can see this is unbelievable.
And that's why we can
historic.
Talk to you too.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
I'm seeing something burning through the fin. It looks like, I'm seeing glow on the backside. That is not a good sign.
Oh, no.
Oh, through the base of the fin?
Yeah. That's not, it's definitely melting.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my
we
gosh.
may lose a fin. So that's one of the interesting issues that they're worried about is having impingement of plasma through the crack to the mechanisms for the fin.
Oh, it's falling apart. This is not good. we may lose it's going to make it to about the same altitude, but much more.
We're about to lose the fin, but you know what? This is still great data.
Oh, absolutely. Whoa, and I can't believe it's holding together still. Like that's really impressive that it's still there.
Well, it's certainly lost its ability to control the fin.
Yeah,
so that's going to affect the landing.
Right.
But
oh my! I can't believe we're seeing this live.
I know we're watching the ship like breaking up.
The fin is starting to rotate up in a non-intended method. About to detach.
Non-nominal. I don't see that the ship does not appear to be rotating, though, at least according to the telemetry. And now it's just gone to hell. I'm sure SpaceX. So we have officially made it past where the other one did, both in time and altitude.
We did.
Yeah. So anyway.
Wow. Well, we've never done this before. So this gives them a good indication of that grid fin to ship interface and what they need to do to improve that seal.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough spot. I mean, I don't know. It still is live, apparently. I can still...
Yeah, David said, I can't believe the camera's holding up. I mean...
or the ship itself at this point. It still seems to be... Wow.
Well, we're now below 50 kilometers. This is that point where authority for the aerodynamics will start becoming a factor. So we may start seeing them lose control soon as we get deeper into the atmosphere.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be really cool, even if they lose control and it hard lands in the ocean, if they can get telemetry all the way to the end, that would be amazing.
Well,
so we
will see.
If it doesn't break up, I mean, they have to be through the worst of the heating at this point.
I don't think so. The
really?
atmosphere is still rapidly becoming denser.
Yeah.
Oh,
we just lost we just lost signal. So you guys will get that in a second or two here. So. Yeah. Oh wait, no. Actually, there's
come back. There's still telemetry.
It's come back.
There's still telemetry.
And it's live because I can see pieces of something flying off. And the ship itself, according to the telemetry, is still in the correct attitude and not rolling.
It's actually pitching down a little bit.
Yes. So that was the bow fin on the right, starboard side bow fin, if I'm correct. Yeah. So, I mean,
I believe so.
So it's still incredible that we're getting any kind of view at this point.
Right. Well,
and by the way,
now that we're much more in the denser atmosphere, but still not the really dense part of the atmosphere, how much faster it's decelerating.
Right.
I don't know what the G-forces are. I'm not gonna, guesstimate, but it's a pretty good amount.
Yeah, it's pretty high. So interesting. So I wonder if they'll need to try to stay up in the atmosphere higher and bleed more out, or obviously they need to work on sealing the
I think
edges
it's
of
just the seal. It's a very difficult thing because it's a gap between the tiles, so they have to come up with
which
something.
Is exactly where everything wants to go. That's where it's going to channel all the energy. So I mean, it still looks live.
They're getting data. This is what they want. Yeah. Data is the payload. This is by far the farthest that anybody has ever gone.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting a little bit more visual of something.
Yeah. We just lost signal again. So.
Okay. Well, we'll see how the telemetry goes.
Yeah. Oh, this is maximum dynamic pressure right now. They're going through max Q. It looks like it. I don't know what it's doing. It's still got telemetry though.
It does. 38 kilometers.
Yeah. So
we're now in the speed range that's not uncommon for the Falcons coming back at this altitude.
Right.
They would be in the entry burn point at this point in time. That kind of gives you an appreciation why they do the entry burn.
Yeah,
to slow it down and not have all of this amazing heating.
Oh, we've got signal. There's still signal. Just wait, it'll pop up.
We're over the hour point now.
Incredible.
Okay. I think the camera lens probably got fried a bit, but it's hard to see exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe hopefully we'll see the engines light.
Yeah, we'll put it this way. Right now, the ship is traveling at a slower speed at the same altitude the booster was.
Yeah, that's true. They said Mach 2. Yeah.
Okay.
So we got a little burble in the speed, but it's coming back. Yeah. Also, the ship is now full. It's flattening and turning into a dart. Notice that the trajectory is starting to tip over. This is not a good sign.
Actually, it may be, because if they're we'll see what it does. It looks like it's out of control.
Yeah.
I was thinking it might go to the belly flop, but we'll see.
Right. I think it's turned into a dart.
Yeah, they don't really have, other than the fins, they don't really have a way of controlling it.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. It's gonna nosedive into the ocean.
Well, it is definitely still slowing. It's at 20 kilometers. We're now at a tenth of the density of the atmosphere. And
it just is flipping. Up. It's flipping. Come on, baby. If they can get the engines lit, maybe they might have enough authority to scoop it. Wait.
Well, I think that's unstable.
Yeah. But maybe if they can light the engines, they can try to do something.
What are we looking at here?
What is that?
I don't know. It's just a mess. Okay, we're down to almost 10K.
We're quite slow at 10 kilometers.
Yeah, really slow. That's actually impressively slow. Oh my gosh, the fin actually moved. I think they actually have control authority, to some extent.
Well, that would be amazing.
That's incredible.
It's either that or it's being blown. We're nearly at 50% atmospheric density now.
Yeah, exactly.
The speed is pretty much constant.
The engines lit. Get the engines lit. Get the engines lit.
The engines won't be until about a kilometer. It'll be really low.
Yeah. I just want them to try. Even if it crashes, I want them to get the engines lit. The problem is it's not in the right position for the. Oh no, but it's header tanks, so they can. All right, come on, baby.
I think they're going to try. If they can light the engines, they're going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, they've got it. It's very slightly tipping up now. So.
By the way, based on the FAA approval, none of what we've seen, it all fits within their exclusion. So nothing is bad yet.
It just tipped back over again. Come on, light. Come on.
It should be about now.
Yeah, they've now.
They can do it.
Yeah. Oh, it flipped. Oh my Lord, I think it's trying. Come on. Come on, light the engines.
Woo!
Oh. It's
No.
not showing it, but it's slowing way down.
Is it?
It's the landing burn is on.
It's in the water?
I think it's in the water.
No.
I think it landed. I think it freaking landed.
It's in the water?
I think it landed. And it just tipped over. Holy crap. I don't even believe that. I don't even believe what I just saw.
That's true. We didn't get the telemetry on the engines, but if they may have landed that sucker.
They had to have, because it definitely came down and tipped over.
Odds. Holy crap.
Wow. That is amazing.
Holy crap. Yeah, it's still alive. Oh my gosh.
The SpaceX confirms they did the landing burn.
Oh my gosh. Holy shit. This is unbelievable.
That is so. I know it's history just because it's history. It happened in the past now, but we just saw something historic.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely historic. I just want to say real quick, everybody's doing it. Congratulations to SpaceX. Congratulations to all of the employees, the engineers, the workers, everything. This is just amazing. Yeah. Congratulations.
Wow. I'm a little speechless. I like it. It looked so bad for a while there with that whole starboard fin.
I like to put the positive on stuff. They learned so much about their ship through this, and what they can do and what it can operate through. This is amazing.
I'm very emotional about this. I mean, the launch we've seen a few times now, but wow.
There is no way anybody can claim this was not a success.
Yes. Yeah.
No way.
Right.
I know people will try, but they cannot. This was fully a success.
Glenn, correct? Oh, holy mackerel.
If you can't be excited about this, I don't know what.
My hands are shaking. I'm just like, wow.
I think SpaceX is somewhat shocked too. Because they always have hopes. They have the analysis. They have the simulations, but it's not like doing it.
No.
You know?
No.
And I'm getting a little bit waxing poetic on this or not, but there are a lot of people that talk a lot about stuff you can or should do.
Right.
But SpaceX is doing it. And that means a lot.
Are they going to use the Starship to roast it? I got mine back there.
I don't know, but
I think they are. I think they're going to roast the marshmallow. Here we go. Of course
that's well deserved.
Go for it, guys.
Well deserved.
So maybe this will become tradition. When they land it, they'll roast a marshmallow and
could be. They got the 4-leaf clover for the launches. Now they got the roasty marshmallow for the landings.
That was, I think, perhaps demonstrating the mechanics of the robustness of the mechanics of the Starship. Like the fact that entire starboard fin, and who knows what the other ones look like, but that thing was torched and still was able to maintain enough authority to get it to the ground so they could do the landing burn.
Well, I would add to that the experience of Flight 1 showing how robust it was being able to do cart flips. That just tells you how strong this is. I mean, there's some famous imagery of, I think it was a Russian rocket that had basically the gyros were put in backwards, and on launch it started tipping over.
Oh, yeah.
Disintegrated in a small tip, and it wasn't going that fast, relatively speaking. So that and what we just saw here, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Incredible. And I guess they're done with their stream, right?
I think they are,
Yep, they're done.
You want to head out there?
We could wrap up here. I think there's probably a few administrative stuff that you got to be doing.
Well, I mean, wrap up the live stream.
Right. I think so.
We are over 3 hours at this point, so we want to get more coverage for you guys, and that means going out to Starbase. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you to our guest, Dr. Know-It-All. What an incredible moment multiple moments that we just got to share. What a great day.
Thank you for sharing with me. I'm a little teary-eyed. I'm gonna go cry in the corner.
Congratulations to all involved.
Congratulations to
Outstanding.
SpaceX.
You
That
should
was
be
amazing.
very proud.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Cheers.
everyone, for watching. Seriously, thank you so much. And we're gonna go back and see what we can find.
Cool.
All right. Cheers.